whatever needs they have, and he's done a nice job of it, obviously.
And you know what? We all love G-Coin. That's not the only way you can get G-Coin at this event. There's other ways to do so. You can enter or bingo where you can predict the winning team, and you can get the highest score to win some extra G-Coin.
Germany, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, Korea, China.
We'll see. We'll get there. And then obviously we get some G-Coin for the special
Let's
moments.
go, Tiggleton.
There'll be codes. There will be codes in chat. You don't need to ask about them. They will be put up at random stages during the show, so make sure to be ready to redeem those when they are put up on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, easy ways to get a little bit of extra, money in the pocket there for some skins and some other cool stuff in games. So make sure you're participating in all that. Spread the word. Let people know that PNC is going on, and there's plenty of opportunities to acquire some little goodies.
And then finally, there are also drops, so make sure that your account is linked to Twitch to make sure you get those drops on your page as well, and make sure to show them off on stream. Why not tweet at me some of the loot that you get from those drops, and I'll let you know what I think, what you're able to do
Australia, China,
we're getting so close, and this is the part where I think
Korea.
some players, who've been here before, the likes of Salute, their heart rate's going to be pretty low, but for some of the teams that maybe are coming in, some of the new players, they could be really nervous. You brought up one,
Brazil,
talking about Team Argentina,
Capitan.
Capitan. I had a big chat with him yesterday. He is
Vietnam,
so excited to be here, and he's such a good guy as well. Like, he's playing with a couple of his teams.
Thailand,
Talk a little bit. Tell me about your
Argentina,
that we're seeing.
I'm curious to see how this has changed.
Denmark, Germany,
the survival stage. I mean, still the
no,
top
Indonesia,
not changing too much, but Vietnam starting
Inter.
to pull out ahead here, ahead of the USA. That is pretty crazy, but not
Let's
too
go.
surprising. This is a really dominant region right now in PUBG esports. So they've been always just a few,
Let's
like
go.
100,000
Let's
ahead of the US, and they're
go.
going to maintain that position. But look at, there's a ton of pick'ems now. I think we've gone up like more than 1 million for China since yesterday. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I see that Argentina have crept up into the mix as well, which I think they should have been there anyway with their historic record at this event, and obviously UK got more picks. Now, I am sorry to all the Japan fans out there. Your team is not going to be winning at this point as they did not get over the line. And looking down, look at that jump from Indonesia. People saw how they played over the survival stage, and they voted in their thousands, and that's got them up now to 13th place.
A dark horse in this tournament for sure. Dead last in the pick'ems to now 13th, so that's a really cool jump. Well deserved with how they played. Denmark still in the same spot, even though they're getting more votes. I think they deserve a little bit more love here, folks. Philippines getting some much deserved love as well. They went from second to last.
ये क्या killing floor God डंडा दे बेकार गेम्स
2023-24 PNC champion. Welcome to PNC 2023. Just barely.
Smooth and original, straight from the underground. Listen to the real funk. Hold on. Watch out, the furious. Better be focused. Listen to the real funk.
And it goes a little something like this. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on. On and on.
혹시 모델업킹 좀
Smooth and original, straight from the underground.
क्या पैंट है इसका लॉल
And as an
बहुत लेट है यही सही है
Bọn mình luôn luôn cho top 4 mà. Bây giờ chỉ còn vô địch nữa thôi. Lầm.
Ok đi thôi.
Ok, làm cái đi. 1, 2, 3.
Listen up. We have got two goals to this PNC. First, we gotta win PNC. And second, we need to get a Aespa's autograph.
Okay.
yeah, let's go.
중국 대표팀은 일단 최근 스크림에서 느꼈을 때 4명 다 자신감 있는 플레이를 하는 것 같고 4명 다 엄청 공격적인 것 같아요.
我觉得韩国队伍打法什么的都很完整嘛，然后打得也很好，但是这一次冠军该是我们了。
뭐라는 거예요? 한국 음식이 입에 안 맞나? 말 실수하네. 3등까지 줄 수 있다. 3등에 올려.
No，
중3 딱.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Nice. You need a new jersey, bro.
What's that supposed to mean?
It's not looking good on you.
It is what it is.
Yikes.
You know, it kind of sucks to not be on the same team, but it's also fun to come back as enemies. I mean, you got second place last year, but, you know, I'll lift that trophy for you this year, mate.
Didn't you guys get like 8th last year? Like, we only lost by 1 point. And you're IGLing this year, right?
Nah, that was just a fluke. We're the real deal this year, trust.
You say that every year, man. Just,
do say that every
you gotta figure your stuff out. Korea's three-peat will be no longer. They will not win.
Yeah, I don't think this year's for career either.
We will make sure they will not win.
I'm down.
Guaranteed. Let's go.
chúng tôi đã có nhiều lỗi đáng tiếc.
ก็ PNC ครั้งที่แล้วผมรู้สึกว่าพวกเราพลาดไปหลายจุดครับผมรู้สึกว่าพวกเราทำได้ดีกว่านี้ครับ希望这次可以让我们没有遗憾吧最后站在舞台上的一定是我们中国队
Vamos competir com muita paixão e dedicação.
Và chúng tôi đã chuẩn bị rất nhiều. Và lần này chúng tôi xứng đáng giành được chức vô địch.
1 year has passed and we're back in Seoul. And this time we'll make sure to defeat Team Korea.
And we'll show you what a powerhouse Team Australia can be. Please look forward to the birth of a new champion.
Esperen que nuestro equipo sea muy fuerte este torneo
Survivor stage itu sama saja ibaratnya kita main scrim biasa.
I think the real games are beginning now.
Team Norway will make sure to take the trophy.
Esta vez vamos a vencer a Corea. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 간단하게 인터뷰 하나 진행하겠습니다.
아, 네.
팬분들한테
이번 PNC 되게 준비 열심히 많이 했고 잘 되고 있어서 좀 기대하시면서 많이 지켜봐 주시면 좋을 것 같아요.
그러면 이제 한국을 견제하는 팀들한테 한마디 부탁드릴게요.
한마디요? 요즘 공공의 적이더라고요, 아주. 뭐 모든 팀들이 저희를 노리고 있던데 지난 2년간 어디가 우승했는지 잘 아시죠? 뺏을 테면 뺏어보세요.
Welcome back, everyone, and those videos and that intro, what a ceremony that was, Paper. But there was a theme. So many teams saying they're going to win this year, but there's only 2 teams on the stage with a star on their shirts, and that is Korea and Team UK. Do you think we're going to see a new PNC champion this year, or do you think Korea will get the three-peat done?
It's going to be really tough to keep this Korea team down. Some of the best in the world right now on that squad, no doubt about it. The return of Seoul to the global stage, he's going to be hungry, but my eyes really go to teams like Vietnam, like China, who have PGC winners on their squads, who know how to get it done. So absolutely, they are going to be forces to be reckoned with. And maybe, you know, with what we were hearing a little bit between Australia and USA, teams might be targeting Korea a little bit. Kind of actually hard to do in a PUBG lobby because you got to just kind of take the points where you can, but there is going to be a lot of eyes on that kill feed whenever Korea is involved.
Yeah, and I love how some of the players were talking about how they deserve to win PNC. Well, there's only one way that you deserve to win this event. Yeah, we got Himsy, we got Gunner represented and Kick, but there's only one way
What the fuck?
to deserve to win a PNC, and that's to go out over the next 3 days and earn it. And you know every single player behind us, even if they're going into this with the underdog mentality, truly believe that they have what it takes to win it. And honestly, I think it is going to be the best PNC we've ever had. And that's a bold statement considering there was 1 point last year.
No, I think this is going to come down to the wire again. I mean, this is just such an unbelievably stacked lobby that we have here. 16 teams, 64 of the best players on the planet right now. You saw in the survival stage how hard fought it was, how every team made that one of the sweatiest 2 days I've ever seen at a PNC, and it only should get even more intense here over the next 3 days, over the next 18 matches.
Yeah, 18 match format, of course. I think it's the best because you truly know who deserves to win over that many maps. A 6 map day, it can come down to luck. A 12 map day, you get a little bit of skill, but over 18 maps, the cream truly rises to the top. But it is time to kick things off in Miramar. PNC 2025, day 1. We are underway here, Paper, and I cannot wait to get stuck into the action.
For sure. We're coming to you live from Seoul, South Korea, once again for PNC, and we begin our journey on Miramar, the Dusty Dunes. And I'm telling you, if what I've been hearing about is true, I think we're going to get hot drops probably most maps today. I think there's a lot of teams who have a lot to prove. We'll see, though. You know, teams in the scrims in the lead-up today just kind of were quiet because nobody fought for anything. They didn't want to show their hands. They didn't want to show their cards. They kept it close to the vest. So now my question is, are spots like Picado, you know, sometimes Hacienda, there's some other points of interest that do get fought over. For Team Korea, you're going to be seeing them go for the normal DN Freaks drops, so it's going to be Kantara here. For our defending champions, throughout the day, I've looked at their desired drop locations. It's going to be all Freaks ideas, so curious to see how that's all going to work out. But right now, I'm just seeing China over Picado. I was curious if the Philippines were thinking about making a claim or trying to make a claim.
No, you can't. Not against China. You can't. Not on your first day. You're really maybe you win a couple of gunfights later on at the tournament. But the big one for me to point out straight away is that in the initial drop map that we were given.
In China over Picado. I was curious if the Philippines were thinking about making a claim or trying to make a claim.
No, you can't. Not against China. You can't. Not on your first day. You're really maybe you win a couple of gunfights later on at the tournament. But the big one for me to point out straight away is that in the initial drop map that we were given, Germany and Thailand were going to hot drop over water treatment. Now, speaking to some of the players and having watched a lot of Europe, Germany do like avoiding early game engagements if they can. And with this flight path, and they know that they could get to water treatment, but their alt drop in Puerto was available, no point risking going for a hot drop on map 1. They've gone to Puerto. And you know what? The circle with the flight path we have, it's pretty good for them early stages.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to work with here coming out of Los Leones. You know, the USA is going to start there, but they are certainly not going to be anywhere near that initially. Once they get their gear, once they start making those rotations, they're going to be trying to claim some of those center compounds. This is one of those weird circles where usually it's going to end up somewhere around Picado, is typically where these circles like to go. Doesn't have to, though, as we do have an interview ready with Salute, the defending champion.
안녕하세요. DM프릭스 소속 살로트 오재현이라고 합니다. 이번에 2025년 PNC 국가대표로 참가하게 됐습니다. 최근에 있던 대회에서 좀 아쉬운 성적도 가지고 제 개인 폼이 안 좋았다고 생각을 하는데 이번 대회에서 꼭 그걸 떨쳐내고 좋은 모습으로 활약할 수 있게 보여드릴 테니까 재밌게 봐주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 사실 잘하는 팀을 견제하는 건 당연하다고 생각을 하고 그 왕관의 무게를 견디는 게 한국 대표팀이라 생각을 해서 이번에도 딱 별일 없이 우승을 하지 않을까 싶어요. 제가 왜 국가대표로 선발되었는지 이번에 결과로 증명하겠습니다.
Terrifying, isn't it, when a team that won the event last year as a player going, yeah, I don't think I played anywhere near how I can. James in a spot of trouble here as Flood from Team Australia will fire the first real shots and anger here at PNC. And Australia, they will keep on moving inside the circle. Australia, by the way, great drops here on Miramar, getting power grid. That's a great staging post for them this event.
It really is. I mean, you see that this drop spot is often contested at the global stage, at PGS's. Often Twisted Minds is having to defend that territory. One of the best teams on the planet, of course. So when you're looking at power grid, you're looking at easy access to a lot of early game, a lot of high ground, a lot of powerful compounds that Australia's already kind of reaching out to near that road that runs out of Picado to the northeast. So certainly a great spot to start, and I'm really curious to see how Tiggleton is going to approach being the IGL this year for Australia. He was talking to me a little bit about it, how he's not used to having to talk that much. Like,
I think Fronto and Pieces take
a player who's allowed to
watershed.
Their muzzle, because, he doesn't have to do that IGL role, and he can just kind of rely on his teammates. Now he has to be much more vocal, and he found that to be a little strange at first.
And it is going to be strange when you've not done it for so long, but we're honing in on Simoy here and the rest of Indonesia. If you're just joining us today, they were exceptional over the course of the survival stage. Simoy was brilliant on day 1, and Trick was phenomenal alongside Teddy on day 2. They've dropped inside of Drumstick Island, way down to the south. They'll look to rotate into the circle in the early stages, but I think that there's going to be a level of confidence they're going to have that if they had have just been in the 16 teams and it was the old format, I don't think they'd be as confident going into today as they are now, considering that they dominated the survival stage.
Yeah, it is, really encouraging for me to see Indonesia play that well, to get that level of confidence on a global event. But they need to continue that. They need to find ways to build off of that momentum. Don't let go of that success that you were able to find. Again, I will say this until the cows come home. It was the best performance I've seen from any Indonesian roster, however you want to cut it, whether it be at a PGS or a PGC. Here at PNC, that was the best I've ever seen from that region. I need to see more. I want to give a quick shout out to Setsuna, who is putting up a ton of damage for this squad, and a lot of it was with the DMRs. He was setting up like the players like Teddy, like Simoy, like Trick for success with his initial opening of space and kind of softening up some of those targets. But look at this, Gumin on his own.
Yeah, doesn't have a vehicle. He's got to get out of there really quick. He's going to stand and fight his ground. Here come Norway. Gumin almost getting the first shot on ENC, but he's going to get the first knock of PNC, but James is there to trade it back. And now Korea Soul running up with the nade in the back pocket. Looking to get some revenge for his fallen comrade. Norway, they're going to go for the res, but Soul seems to be reading the movement. He tosses the nade inside and it hits the target. Heeman's going to fall, he's going to get flushed out, and Soul is fighting back.
And look what he's done. He's broken things open here for Korea, reigning with the Panzer, looking to put it to good use. And there's a buggy that just drives in right in front of him. They're going to storm through. Salute just run around in tens, puts him on the ground, makes short work of that prone player. But Heemas from Vietnam, from afar, looking to get involved, looking to stymie Korea early.
Yeah, Heemas has got James in his sight now too, but James has got some explosive utility of his own, and it's perfect. He'll get the knock onto Salute as these two sides continue to do damage to each other. At what point does Heemas say, maybe it is worth Vietnam pushing? The team is too far away, so really, he is just on Overwatch. James gets the first aid off. Seoul will get another confirmation on the board for Korea, but Norway not done fighting just yet. But Seoul gets it done, and Korea with the opening squad wipe of PNC.
What timely play from Seoul. The initial grenade just perfect. You know, Gyumin there, able to get that first knock and saying, look, I'm dead, but you've got an opportunity here. Now, Alo down, he runs into Germany over in Los Leones. This is what I was kind of talking about earlier with those rotations that were going to be available to Germany, but a late kind of positioning from Alo, maybe playing a bit of an anchor spot, costs him, and he's down. Purdy Curdy, though, looking to try to return the favor. Germany just going to set up inside of this apartment building. Purdy's above them, I believe, so this is going to be interesting. They're looking to maybe clear this building out. How does Purdy get through? Shrimzy quite a bit ahead of his IGL.
Yeah, the only way that there was any way the rest of USA were getting involved there was if Kurt was able to get a knock or two. They're going to play as a 2 for the rest of this game. So we've got another bit of action here. Team UK pushing on to Vietnam. Tan Vu, of course, takes the first bit of damage in this fight, but Michael with a FAMAS already, and Heemas gets the opener of this engagement. T-Bone is going to fall. Heemas will flush that one out, but UK brilliant at bringing players back once they've been dealt with already. But this is going to be tough here, Paper, but Fex will get a knock of his own.
Yeah, Fex being really patient here behind these boxes, so the stuns come out, and a good grenade does a fair amount of damage. Tombu able to finish what the grenade started, so just one player left here for the UK, and it's Vard quite far away from this fight. Looks like he is just going to wait for his opportunity to try to see if he can grab the blue chips and get the recall through.
Yeah, 10 players have fallen already in the opening 8.5 minutes here on Erangel, which has completely had a revamp to its tempo at the highest level of esports here in PUBG. And you'd think that the lobby will get a little bit of room to breathe now. You'd hope that all those players falling is going to create insane amounts of space inside a zone like this. And one of the teams that'll look to take advantage of that is Denmark, as they're going to share the area around Cantera with Team Poland.
Yeah, so curious to see if anybody's going to find any significant damage between these two. They're quite spread out, are both teams, so it's going to come down to some of that long-range shooting, some of that DMR damage, to see if they can find any opportunities to try to make a stronger push somewhere. Xiaowu going to be up on top of the mountain here. Delwyn going to be sneaking underneath him. I mean, this is a Delwyn specialty. He is such an aggressive player out on his own. He is willing to take some space and catch his opponents off guard when they don't expect him to be there. And Xiaowu, though, I think he's actually shooting at the Philippines way over on the other side, but for the likes of Vietnam, they're just checking. They're just doing a little bit of scouting here for Delwyn to set him up for success.
Yeah, Delwyn's just creeping up over that ridgeline. Xiaowu on the other side. He's fought around the open, but Delwyn takes a ton of damage. One more repeat, one more shot to do it, but he misses every single one. But the fight's not over just yet. The nade's there, and Delwyn will find the knock, and Xiaowu will go down. This should be a point on the board for Vietnam to get them up to 4, but Xiaowu had no clue that Delwyn was creeping up the ridgeline.
He's so good at moments like this, and he's such a brilliant leader for the Expendables, and you're seeing why, because not only is he good at taking space, being that recon player that is so valuable in PUBG esports, but he's capable of finishing what he started. A little bit whiffy there on the initial spray, but that's A-okay because he had Xiaowu in a dead-to-right spot. Poland going to be grouping up. You can see Denmark wants to gain a little bit of territory behind that, just going to backfill a little bit as Gustav into this concrete god compounds. Poland, though, going to be happy with what they have for now, as this is pretty central in phase 2. We did shift to the east, away from Picado just a little bit, And a lot of interesting terrain to work with here around the craters, around the graveyard, north of Los Leones. So this is shaping up to be a really interesting start to PNC.
And if you are eagle-eyed and you're looking at the Poland roster and say something looks different, yes, Domint is back in today and Pufa has gone back into the coaching role. So they have made a change going into today. Whether or not this is the thing where they're going to alternate the team every single day, or whether there was just something in particular about day 2 that made them think Pufa would give them a better chance, they have made a roster swap. And I love how we're seeing teams like Indonesia play in positions like Picado where you might not usually go this early, but because you've got the recall system in that position, it means you could play there, and if you do sustain a knock from long range, you can get that player back.
Yeah, exactly, and also that's a really nice spot on the edge of Picado because it gives you a ton of zone control to your east. You're going to be able to keep track of any teams that are going to be setting up on the outside crater that's to the west of Kantara. A little bit of attempted damage. Are they going to drive? They got the tire. Oh, Jaiwei is in trouble now. Jacob going to be circling around him. The spray there gets him weak, and Fluky from afar able to finish what Jacob started.
Yeah, we talked about how we thought Thailand would be a little less aggressive, but there's some things that you can't iron out of a team. And I loved how you had one player, Fluky, up on high with Rosset focusing on the tire, and Jacob was like, yeah, you put the pressure on, I'm going to cut him off with a vehicle, I'm going to get that knock. That's a level of confidence in your own ability and your teamwork that is just so good to see.
Yeah, and that shows great communication as well there for Team Thailand to be able to set up plays like that, to catch the trailing player of Chinese Taipei, who are now going to make a wide wrap up to the north. A little bit of space available for them up there, but you know, fighting uphill the rest of the way, most likely, depending on what the next circles do, but going to be a little bit tricky for them. Germany still hounding the backside of USA. Kickstart and Trimsy, the duo for the Falcons, just going to be chilling in a house, trying to lock things down, trying to see what points they can salvage out of this one. And now Thailand making their move. They're going to be coming in towards Los Leones. You have Argentina and Germany down here. This is actually going to be a little bit tricky for them. So let's see if they can suss this out and find a successful entry.
Yeah, I think just looking at the terrain, this is probably the best way. Even though there's more teams here, it's the more playable part of the circle. You look north of where Brazil are, at the very north side of the circle, there's a lot of open ground, a lot of fights that maybe you don't want to get into. We're looking at Thailand's POV of what they know, and you can see them. They're saying, right, we know that there's a 2-2 split between Argentina. You can see them highlighting that, and they're kind of showing what they think their best path into the circle is. And that's one of the things that I love and the addition to observing inside of PUBG lately, is being able to see exactly what those players think or know and what they're communicating to themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a nice change as the circle going to keep Picado inside of it and go towards that other crater where Vietnam has set up shop with a couple players inside and outside. China going to be on the western edge after losing Xiao Wu early, and it's going to be Indonesia defending the only recall system that's in the new circle, trying to keep anybody from getting their players back in. We saw how pivotal that was during the survival stage, especially for like the Philippines, who had a big comeback in a game where they were able to get 3 players res. Seoul out in the open for Korea. Gyumin not able to be res, no res station available. Xavier did find a knock on a 10 trip for Taipei. That's out by Minas Generales.
Yeah, that's a long-range knock, and it's a bit more aggression from Chinese Taipei that we weren't used to seeing over the survival stage, but it's a very tough one to flush out. They should be able to get the res, but here comes the Pow rush. He thought about pushing up, but Calbs, as you would like to say, Johnny on the spot, saw the push, and is able to push them back the other way for now. But this fight, I feel, is not done yet, as both these sides want to go, and I think that Philippines, Chinese Taipei, they want to do this so Philippines cannot get up into the sky with a C pickup.
Exactly. This is a really nice aggressive play. You're making it so Philippines has to...
Oh, the sandstorm.
Pick something, you know, make a decision, but this actually makes it easier for them. It's going to be harder for Mal Rush to get close so he can really identify where they're at. Maybe a well-timed in place grenade could end the Philippines, but they're already up in the air. So that is going to be safety for now for them. That is a huge win. That dust storm couldn't have arrived at a more opportune moment.
Usually when people talk about PUBG timing, it's in a negative light, but for Philippines, that was perfectly timed. It gets them out of dodge, and now they can focus on moving into the circle. But the question is, where do they drop? Because they are going to be on foot from this point on. Denmark, they're starting to turn their attention towards Poland, who they've got surrounded on all sides, as Manchesters and Domi will take a little bit of damage with us. Acelef is actually able to take 10 trip out of the sky.
He is one of the best in the business. But it comes to just raw skill. Aches Left has that in spades for sure. Everybody on Team China does. Ming Ming, absolutely stellar. Lil Ghost, a known quantity with multiple PGS wins. You know, but here for the Philippines, a little bit of a rough start, but they're able to at least get 3 players, well, 2 players down, and CJ's trailing in a vehicle trying to drive to regroup. He's under fire. A grenade there from Ketter. He's going to get a knock onto a Poland player, and they're splitting a big 2-2. So Denmark has an opportunity here to really do some damage to a team that's been harassing them for a lot of this. And in fact, they are. They've got the 2 players here down, Marsalek and Cappy, trying to get back.
Yeah, the question is how aggressive do they want to be? If I know Marsalek, the answer is just yes. Aggression, yes. He takes some damage though as Posa from Brazil is able to target from the other side of the fight. Brazil with a 2-2 split, very close to the center of the current circle and right in the center of this one. And that adds even more value to this Poland-Denmark fight now because they've got a brilliant position as well.
Yeah, this is so important. Cappy finds a good knock onto Dofi. Now, Posa taking his opportunity to try to do some more damage. That's a confirmed point there for Poland. Grenade being thought about here by Ketter. Goes just a bit wide. Cappy there, ears ringing, but he answers right back with a big grenade of his own. That's going to push Ketter back into the house to go for the heal.
Yeah, Marsalek still on Overwatch as well, but a spray from Gustav does a ton of damage up on high on the hill. Over by the other side of the circle, Chinese Taipei locking horns with Korea right on the edge of the circle. Seoul with level 3 gear. So that guy does not need any buff whatsoever, but the level 3 gear will help even more. Nade toss, that could be really, really good. It's brilliant. It's right on top of him, and it's Seoul with a nade once more. He's so good with it so far today.
Look how fast he was to get that initial damage and follow up with the frag, and it's perfect in every regard. It's hard to do it better than that. Mao Rush trying to throw every smoke that he can. Meanwhile, this fight's still going on. Beamy trading with Cappy. Cappy going to be flushed out, so just Marsalek left here for Poland. And he is stuck in an awkward position. Alive, firing, looking for points, actually gonna claim Leo. So that's not gonna go to Team Korea. That's a nice find for him.
Yeah, and that's a good salvage because he's not going to win the fight with Denmark at this point, so it's all about finding whatever bonus points you can find. 46 players still alive after 18 minutes in the double blue zone. Marush, it was nice knowing you. A salute. We'll get another knock for Korea as they are kicking things off the way the champions should. Philippines now locking horns with their rivals from inside, but here comes China. They got to get a clean fight with Indonesia, but China start pushing up here. Here's where that Calb's going to fall as well as Lil Ghost will get that knock. Philippines, it's all going wrong.
Oh, they felt like they had such a good fight, but then China shows up to the party. Lil Ghost tries to hold the spray down, he loses, but Algenbot's actually going to get taken down from afar by Thailand. So China's Ming Ming going to scramble to try to get these reses, and it looks like he's going to be given the opportunity, I think. Indonesia not driving in their direction, so Indonesia happy to let them lick their wounds and take another fight there. They get a knock on to Luke 12 over towards Vietnam, who is sitting on top of some Argentina players. They've already done some serious damage to them. Luke 12 all but out at this point. Tiggleton, Monty trying to protect the player as best as they can, but Trick lining up with another big grenade, and he's got that point secured.
Yeah, Indonesia 3 players up. Australia now the exact same as Flood, Monty and Tig will look to combine. Tanvu, he's going to fall, but Capitan was a lamb to the slaughter there with a Panzer as a solo inside a building. But back to Indonesia. The longer this fight goes on with Australia, the more likely China are to get involved as Tiggleton will get a knock on this salute. A big one for the fans there at home. But Australia, you got to be careful. You have 2 teams pushing from the south, and you have Korea just over the edge, and Trick will get a big knock on the Flood. And there's just 2 players up for Australia now. But here's China going for that backfill on Indonesia.
This is a really smart play from Australia. That knock there opened up some space for them to try to press this fight against Indonesia, knowing that they're going to be sandwiched. Aches Left knocks again here by Setsuna. But a quick knock there. It's actually Seoul from Korea who finds Setsuna behind the car. Tiggleton up and over, gets Trick. And Australia able to get a point on the board, but they have big threats looming on their north and on their south.
And Monty is down, and you got to be quick because you can see the nade in the hands of Salute, who's already been doing damage alongside Seoul with that throwable utility. Here come Thailand as well. They're going to wrap up onto this one as they send in towards the circle. Gustav will finally deal with Marsalek as then there were 10. But China, Australia, Korea, all going head-to-head, and I think that Australia are in a really bad spot, and look at that, a double knock, as it just 2 players will fall. Ming doing the damage now, and Australia fall in 10th, and they're followed out the door as well. 8 teams left alive, and China and Korea will now probably go head-to-head here on the edge as well, with Vietnam not too far away.
And I told you Seoul was itching to get back on the global stage. 6 kills already for the superstar. A grenade actually bounces up, does quite a bit of damage. 2 Aches left in Lil Ghost, so they're gonna have to prone it down, try to get some heals to go through. Himas with a FAMAS, absolutely deadly with it. And there is some long-range shooting, and Seoul again gets the knock. It's on to Ming this time. 10 kills already for Korea, and it is a shooting gallery down into the crater.
Like I said, this is how a champion should perform at this event. But the game is not over yet. We're only now entering the placement point window as Vietnam look to push towards China. Himas and Tanvu will start tossing utility that way as USA are wiped at the hands of Germany and Brazil. Good nade from Himas picks up another point for Vietnam. That's 8 kills for them as well, as 2 of the favorites are going to work here on Miramar. Lil Ghost will step up over that ridgeline. The fog of war, the mist is transcending, but Tanvu is going to put that C4 in place. 15 seconds until boom time for them, and he's going to put it in the rock. There's not going to do anything. It's Lil Ghost, don't go close. Don't, he's fine.
Just listen to the beeps. Just listen to the beeps. You just need to be far enough away from the beeps and you're A-OK. I love the attempt there. Aches left and Lil Ghost just clinging to life down here as both Korea and Vietnam looking to put the pressure down on top of them. But now Korea has another threat. It's going to be Denmark over to their east. Brazil staying quiet underneath all of this, and the circle is going to shift a bit up to the north. So uphill sledding here for Vietnam and China to get on top, to get up this hill a little bit. Let's see if they're going to be given the opportunity. Korea very keen to try to make sure that nobody's going to encroach on their territory, but it's flat up here. There's going to be opportunities for the likes of Germany, Brazil, maybe Denmark to try to harass them while they look to put some fire down. Good shots there from Germany. Brazil going to be backing off.
The 2 European teams looking to combine together to do damage onto Brazil. Sparking down to 32 HP as the nade will start to get tossed in. A barrage of utility thrown at the Brazilians, but Posa will be the first one to find a knock. Mika will fall. A second nade, exact same place. Confirm out your point, but this one bounces a little too high, and Zerath will get away with just about 1 HP and a dream. But Denmark get closer. China will get dealt with by Vietnam as they now steal top spot after game, or during game 1. 10 kills for them now too, as Germany look to regroup. But look at Denmark are playing this so well. They know they don't need to get aggressive on Brazil first, because Brazil will deal with Germany, and then they can deal with Brazil.
They want to see some knocks both ways. They want to see a door open to give themselves an opportunity to make an aggressive move, but it's been a bit of a standstill now here on the edge of the circle, but phase 6 going to force the issue in just a minute or so. As Brex trying to army crawl his way a little bit further forward, looking for Brazil players to see if he can do any damage. Raining, watching all of this from afar, making sure that the flank is clear for Korea so they can harass Vietnam on their way up this hill. Himas just barely able to find a ridge to prone down behind. Not seeing much in the way of util left here for Germany, so they're going to have to find their moment, but they're turning their attention north. Could be a 3-way battle.
This could be big for these sides. BL will get another knock. Mika will fall for the second time as Brazil continue to fight. Sparking will met up with Brax. Go, you gotta hit those Brax as Posa will 180 and get the knock the other way. Brazil still battling, still fighting, and now we're seeing Denmark close the gap. They're in a bowl. Phoebe will find Sparking. Gustav another. Ketter, Posa, and Brazil will fall. And now they turn their attention to the Germans. Mika back on his feet. But Brax is going to fall. Denmark stealing all these kills away. They're up to 9 kills now too, as they look to find some more. Is that nade perfection? Close, but not close enough.
It doesn't get any better than that on that push for Denmark. That was so clean, and now they're keeping Germany completely pinned. One down, but Mika ready for Ketter's push around the corner. Just Gustav on his feet. He's able to win one at 5 HP. Just wants to confirm this point. Able to at least do that with some help from the smoke at his side. Germany actually wiped out by Vietnam as they do end up getting up the hill. 4 players still alive. 3 here for Korea, and Denmark on their last legs. Gustav trying to hide. Reigning having none of it. Oh boy, Gustav once again on a sliver of HP, able to get back behind the shack.
Yeah, Korea want the kills, but Vietnam, they want the win. They're locking up a little further away as Korea begin to just wrap around this team. The BZ not good. Oh, Delwyn's going to do it again. Delwyn back into super stealth mode, creeping up over this hill, getting closer and closer. The Predator is hunting, and there'd be music in a show, and Delwyn strikes again, and it is Vietnam and Korea battling for the win. 13 kills for Vietnam, and it's 10 for Korea. But can the reigning champions, the hometown heroes, lock it out in game number 1? Look at Vietnam. They're bled dry. No explosive utility whatsoever for them to work with in this battle with Korea. But maybe they can salvage some from these crates.
A few things being scooped up here by Salute. The nice thing for Korea is they've got a ridge line on the eastern edge of the circle that they can hide behind right now. So it is cover temporarily. Getting further forward going to be pretty tricky. Vietnam's going to have that extra player to create that extra angle, and you can see Solalzi on the map going to be that player for Vietnam to try to find that flank angle. So it's going to be a lot of pressure again on Reigning. We've been seeing that he's been the guy to really be the one to watch for those aggressive maneuvers around the edges, and you never know where the hell Delwyn's going to pop up at. So got to be really proactive with your information gathering, making sure that you're checking every angle possible here as Korea, because pretty likely that when we get to another circle that it's going to be a little bit tricky to move forward, as Vietnam has a great ridge line and they're basically guaranteed to at least have a couple players in.
Yeah, you look at this circle, and Korea at this moment in time, they're in, yes, but as you point out, not an incredible amount to work with. Salute, he is creeping not too far away now from Delwyn. It'd be curious if Delwyn was to get caught out by his own trick. If Salute can just creep close enough to open up that line of sight. Korea really need the first knock in this engagement, because if Vietnam get a 4v2, they don't throw those. Korea just creating some cover for themselves. One of my favorite additions to the game is the deployable cover. The fact that you can make positions that were once unplayable now somewhat playable to try find a victory.
Absolutely. It is hands down one of my favorite additions to the game as well. So you got some smokes coming down now here. Soul trying to create a little bit of space. Reigning as well wants to cut off that extra angle. Circle is just going to center up for phase 8. So Tanvu Himas going to be the front liners for Vietnam. They're going to try to lock it down there. Not much utility left either way. Frags here and there. Reigning down to his last one. Saw Molly in the bag for Salute. A few smokes, a few stuns. So util here for Korea to make something happen, but Vietnam has the extra player. They're going to try to load up, try to see if they can get lucky on isolating a Vietnamese player, but Vietnam wise to that game, and they're going to fan out. Stuns going through, but nobody's really been able to find that moment.
Reigning just using the smoke as cover to the rest of Vietnam while he creeps closer and closer to Delwyn. But Delwyn spots out Reigning, but that also reveals his position, and it is gloves off now between these two sides. Delwyn will be the first to fall as Soul gets that knock. 3 versus 3 now here on Miramar. Yeah, look at where Salute is.
He's gone to the edge. He's made such a brilliant rotation. He went out into a little bit of the blue, but he can't connect the shots, and Tanvu wise to it. Reigning steps up to the plate now. That's Himas down. It's a 2v2, 2v3 in fact. Korea's still got all 3 up, but are they going to give Vietnam the time for these reses?
He's going to go for it. It looks like Vietnam want to get back up to a 3. 1,000 damage for Soul now as Tanvu desperately tries to hold them back, and Solalzi will find a knock onto Reigning. It's 3v2 now as the pendulum swings back the other way. You can see the spray from Salute. He finds a ton more damage, but Korea will be down to a 2 now. Smoke in position, Blues will wrap it back, but this time it's Soul. He's going for the wrap around the other side. He is trying to stab, and maybe Tanvu could be the one. Tanvu really needs to keep eyes on Soul here. Vietnam don't want to lose another player.
It's the old Donawa duo. Soul got a brief glimpse, but didn't really get the opportunity. Salute still trying to pepper players down with that 3x AUG. Hasn't found tremendous success with it. That FAMAS from Himas, absolutely scary. And he's going to try to get underneath Salute. Soul, though, doing good damage, pressuring Solalzi back, at least trying to create a little bit of an opportunity here for Salute. The problem is Himas, I think, is going to get the jump on him.
Yeah, this is looking so bad. Damage from Salute from the other way. That should be a signal for him to push up the hill, and that's
Nice.
exactly what it is. P-Mass gets one. He turns his attention to Seoul. He's in a 1 versus 3 now. The Korean and the Vietnamese
Let's
will look
go.
to flood in. 1,100 damage, 15 kills though for Vietnam as they look to start off PNC in dominant fashion. All they got to do now is wait. Do not give Seoul isolated 1 versus 1, but they give him the first headshot.
Nice.
But
Let's go.
Vietnam, they take the first win. It's not going to be a miraculous start for the reigning champions, but it's Vietnam who kick things off the perfect way. And what a win that was.
क्या खेला है,
Yeah,
अच्छा
that was
खेला है.
really, really well played by them. They had a tough moment there where they had to go uphill while being underneath Korea's gun sight, so they're able to find their timing to get up there, to get themselves into that winning position, keeping all 4 up, keeping China at bay in the middle of the map. I mean, really impressive stuff. Delwyn getting it kicked off against China early with his classic, quintessential, sneaky plays that break things open, and just a great game back and forth.
I can't get over how big of a gauntlet that's just been thrown down to the whole lobby. 20 plus points for 2 of the favorite teams in game number 1 is insane as we get a look at the highlights from that matchup. But you couldn't have asked for a better start. Things looked like they were going to go wrong there, but Gu-Ming, by getting that first knock on the Norway, how different this game could have been for Korea if he didn't hit those shots.
Yeah, and Seoul isn't going to miss his opportunities when he's given juicy targets like that. Those shacks, so easy to get grenades in and basically unavoidable if you're stuck inside of one, that you're not just going to get knocked. A little bit of a nice play here from Thailand early to get that pick onto Chinese Taipei. Philippines, I thought for a moment they were going to have a good fight against Indonesia, but then China showed up with a well-timed backstab. You know, some really good stuff from them in terms of finding their moments, even though they lost a player early. Aches left able to survive despite multiple knocks, so they were playing measured aggression, I would say, and doing a pretty darn good job of it.
Yeah, they were really good, and I think that a lot of teams had good, like Brazil had a very good game. Denmark were brilliant. They did show a continuation of the form from
हिगल्टन का
yesterday.
टीम सैंडविच हो गया कोरिया और चाइना के बीच में. लॉल.
And Korea, as we know, are not going to take an opportunity to third-party a fight. They did it to Australia, and then they wrapped all the way around to the other side of the circle to do it to Denmark. And the timing of that push from Denmark was perfect too. Brazil were gone within 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, it's hard to do it better than Denmark did there. That is just so well executed, so clean from them. Even though they don't get too much further, that was a really nice moment for them. And Seoul, you just never
कोरिया
know with
कुछ
him
भी
in the
कर
lobby.
सकता है
It
bro.
looked like for a moment Korea was going to be able to
2
break
बार
things
जीत
open.
गया
The Salute just
लास्ट
couldn't
टाइम और
really
उसका
make
लास्ट
that off angle work. He couldn't find that 3x
इस बार हो
with
गया
the
तो
AUG,
हैट्रिक
to really
होगा
get a
कोरिया
ton of
का.
damage in. So a little bit frustrating for them, but you can see some smiles on their faces. They know they gave it a good effort.
And the best thing about it is the second that the damage was dealt on the Salute,
वियतनाम ना एकदम पुश खेलता है.
he's low, get over the hill, get the knock, because we're still in a 2v1
नॉक हो गया
against
तो
Seoul,
पुश
even
करना
if
है.
you get
ऐसा
traded
खेलता
back by
है.
Seoul the other way.
एकदम रश
So really good
अटैक.
But what a start
कोरिया एकदम
that
डिफेंड
was.
खेलता है.
Let's have a look though at how many points the top 4 teams were able
Mind
to
game
garner
खेलता है कोरिया.
in game number 1. 3 teams with 10 plus kills.
यूएस क्या हो
3
गया
teams
देखना है
responsible
मुझे.
for wiping out more
पॉइंट्स
than half the lobby.
Look at what Vietnam is doing there. Their grenades so impactful. We saw time and time again that
16
they were getting
kills.
tons of damage and finding
Korea,
their moments to just put teams on the
Denmark,
back foot with those frags to start some of those
Germany.
mid-game fights where they were getting really active. Korea just, I suspect a lot of that damage is DMRs. They were making life miserable for those teams from that edge position. Just a solid game from Denmark in terms of decision-making, in terms of being patient, finding their moments. Let's see who our man of the match was for Vietnam. It's going to be Salalzi with
यूएस
5
एक ही
big
किल किया है
kills,
क्या?
600 damage. What a start
नहीं
here
एक
for
किल भी नहीं
Vietnam.
किया है.
Crazy when 5 kills and that much damage is only 28% of the points your team got. Every single player for Vietnam.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी एक ही किल किया
Man of
है.
the match in that one. Like that's a tough one to call.
हिगल्टन का टीम.
But boy, were they brilliant. But I want to give a shout out to Delwyn. Like, look at how he was able to creep his way into multiple fights.
Vietnam by 16 kills.
China, he got a point earlier as well in that gunfight with Korea.
कोरिया,
Brilliant.
डेनमार्क.
Really darn good at doing that kind
कल
of stuff.
डेनमार्क
I was
लास्ट प्लेस
so
पे था.
impressed with Delwyn. throughout this last year.
फिर
Really,
से select हो
PGC in
गया
particular,
top
obviously
5 पे आ गया
being,
last
a
से
champion there, and they get themselves 26 total points, 17 for Korea, 16 for Denmark. And then it's a pretty steep drop down to off. It just felt like it never ended. That mid game in particular was just wild.
Imagine getting 11 kills and 3rd place and still being 10 points off the team that got top. That is how good Vietnam were in game number 1.
Vietnam,
Germany did really well. They brought the aggression to the USA at the very start as they got 2 kills onto Alo and Kurt. They were able to do some damage onto, I think, Poland at one point as well. Like, it was a good start for Germany coming through survival stage.
Kind of curious what happened in that situation there with Alo and Purdy, just maybe not anticipating that would be the rotation path there for Germany, or just never heard it coming. It didn't have an escape route or something. I'd have to go back and watch the VODs a little bit to figure that one out. But usually, especially with Purdy Curdy there, I wouldn't anticipate
Himas,
that you'd be caught off guard like that unless Germany did something really sneaky. And it's Germany, so that's probably what happened.
Yeah, like Alo was caught outside camper stack, and camper stack's a great
Korea,
position.
bro.
What is that?
ये लोग ना
Camper stack is the 5-story apartment building on the edge of
PUBG तो कोरिया का ही game है.
over to the west. We call it camper stack because people tend to camp at the very top and just look over the whole of the map.
बहुत
So it's
अच्छा
a great
खेलता है.
position to play, but only if you've got 2 or 3
Be right
players
back.
up.
Sure.
Right? You're up there all by yourself against a 3-man. Unless you've got a Panzer and the team are grouped so close together, you don't win.
Yeah, no, it's true. So I just suspect something sneaky from Germany. That's at least my initial inkling, or just they were so fast to get there and it just caught America completely off guard. But yeah, not bad at all. If you weren't one of those top 3 teams, if you're getting 6, 7, 8 points, you're very happy with that game. Argentina off to a bit of a slow start, but I don't think you can hold them back for too long. They had that explosive day 1 the other year, and they're a team that has some great fraggers there. You can see here for Argentina, really good finishes, always in that top 10 spot. Brazil, you're not going to hold them down for too long. I don't blame them for what happened in that game. They were gifted that crater, that little dip that's up on the top of the ridge, and they were able to lock it down for a bit. Of course, there were just a lot of hungry teams around them who were given the opportunities to punish that fight.
Yeah, and I think that as well, you talk about Argentina, they got third party by Brazil. Long-range shots from Posta got a knock, which really inhibited their ability to hold their own in that fight where they got wiped. So things like that just happen inside of PUBG. This is where I want to talk about Brazil again, because you brought them up. It's a almost completely different roster than what we're used to seeing, right? There's no Gizera for what feels like the first time in a long, long time. This year, we've seen the players from what used to be working in silence who got picked up by the Org Rock. They did really well on the second PGS of the year. The first one, of course, they didn't quite play their best, but they won a couple of maps the second time around. They earned the right to be here. I've been a massive, fan of BL and Santa for a long time, and I think alongside Sparking and Posa, they're going to be really good additions to this Brazil team.
It should be a really well-balanced Brazil team. I mean, Sparking IGLing and also just one of
Tickled
the best
IGL.
fraggers on the planet. Biel and Santastico, we can see, like you're talking about at PGS, what they're capable of. I mean, Santastico winning that nice 1v3 versus BB team. Absolutely insane stuff from him. And then Posa, one of the best salvage point players I've seen in quite some time. His ability, his knack to just sort of rat things out and get you those extra 2, 3, 4 points is unparalleled right now. You don't have Loki in the game anymore, so now I'm looking at Posa as that new guy who can get it done by himself.
And then we spoke a lot about the teams at the top and how well they're going to feel after game 1. If you're USA or Team UK or even Australia, you didn't have the best game number 1, and then you look and you see how many points Korea and Vietnam picked up. But you've got to stay calm. It's 18 maps. It's not a 2-day event. It's not a 1-day event. There are so many maps still to be played that you've just got to get into the mindset that it's fine. That one's done. We can't affect it. Let's focus on the next.
Yeah, for sure. And it's easy to do it at PNC, I think, because so many, players, yeah, there's some level of pressure on you, obviously. You want to win as much money as you can, of course.
Thailand पे एक बंदा है किसी मोटा क्या खेलता है
everybody comes into it a little bit looser, a little bit, take it a little less seriously, let's say, in terms of just like, hey, we still want to win. They're still going to give it their all. But when it comes to, after the round is done, there isn't that whole, oh man, what is wrong with our team? Like, what's going on? They're like, guys, that one just didn't go our way. Easy reset there. As, yeah, got some USA fans.
It's Kick's hair, isn't it? That has to be Kick's hair.
No, it's Shrimzy's hair, actually.
Oh, Shrimzy, is it?
Yeah, for sure that's a Shrimzy sign.
I didn't even think about who was holding the sign up. That's my bad. I should have thought about that. That's my fault. I apologize, the viewers at home, but I'm not going to apologize for this. Game number 2 is about to kick off. We're going to Miramar for the second time today, as we have a little overlook at Los Leones, which has been the drop spot, especially in the Americas and globally, for Kurt and Liquid for the longest of times, and well, it's no surprise to see that USA will be taking that spot here at PNC.
For sure. It makes a lot of sense, as you know, a lot of these teams are going to be leaning into their drop spots in terms of who their IGL is. That's going to be where they want to operate from. I think a lot of players, you know, if you ask just your average fragger, they don't care too much where you're dropping for the most part. Like, they're happy to just be told what to do, where to go, and then how to play from there. Just let the IGLs do the talking, do the thinking. They're going to do the shooting. So certainly for the USA, it makes a lot of sense. Australia should be power grid again, you would assume. Are we going to see any hot drops? Doesn't seem likely, as you talked about. Germany does have that all drop in Puerto Paraiso, so again, that one going to be claimed by them. Looking north of the map, I see Philippines and Poland kind of thinking similar ideas near La Coberia, but don't know if that's actually the end game or if it's just going to be an Oasis drop here for the Philippines.
Yeah, they're going to extend out towards Oasis.
Piggy.
Get La Cabrera to themselves. Thailand aren't too far away. We know that they'll be taking water treatment over the course of this weekend as we get ready for the first circle shift of the day. Remember, if you do want to keep an eye on what is going on the map at all times, !map will bring you to the map feed. If you've got a spare screen, a spare device, it's always good to keep an eye on what everyone is doing. And it's also a good time, I suppose, people, to let everyone know at home that some player POVs are available in team POVs if you want to follow a particular team as well.
Yeah, PUBGsports.com, and you can check some of that out. But we've got an interview with Tiggleton, the leader for Australia.
Our team has a really high skill ceiling, but we struggle to come together because we all play the same role on our own teams. So it's really like a chemistry issue for us, but I think with a little bit of practice and over the years, we'll get better. And we'll show you what a powerhouse Team Australia can be.
I think Team Australia is not as strong as people think they are, and it will be very easy to defeat them.
Team USA, they're all right.
I think they'll be top 24. I think they'll be within the 6 to 12 range.
Shrimzy, I think the score is 1-0 right now, but I'm coming for you.
I am on the same team as Tiggleton, and he is not an IGL at all. He's all aim, no brain.
All aim, no brain.
Seems like they're having a little fun, Shrimzy and Tig. Obviously, those guys very good friends, so, you know, a little bit of friendly banter there. And all aim, no brain. I'm not so sure. I think Tiggleton's pretty smart. He's got some really interesting thoughts about the game, and he was the one who was convincing me that Nedex was going to be a force to be reckoned with during the Survivor stage.
Yeah, told me that any EU team that's looking for a player will be insane not to pick him up. Marcelik will look to pick up his first point of this second game of the day. He's got Tentrip in his sights. The door's been opened. Tentrip, oh, that's great being Tentrip, dude. Tentrip thought there was somebody there, and Tentrip will shut him down. He opened the door. He put the barrel of the gun out there to force Marcelik to shoot. Step back inside. I think the words there are hook, line, and sinker.
Well, the whole way through, I could tell that Tentrip was wary of somebody being here, whether they saw it with the drops or some piece of loot, you know, got picked up off the ground and gave it away, not sure. But regardless, that's really good diligence from a player who really stood out, especially on day number 1. He was your top damage dealer on the first day of the Survivor stage. And you can see that Tentrip is the real deal here for the Philippines. And now Poland not happy that they lost a player, and they're going to try to pick on poor Tentrip, who is all alone, and he's actually going to use the backside of this hill to try to get through. I think he's got a little bit of cover from Calves at range to try to get him an escape. And let's see if he can get that. Oh, he hits a headshot. Oh, just far enough out that it didn't get the insta knock.
That's 99 plus damage. You saw the 100 come up on your screen. He was within I'd say he's less than 1 foot away from finding that knock. But it's great from Tentrip. He's staying inside this fight. He did not elect to fall back. I'm just surprised that the rest of the Philippines have not come in. I think that Calbs has actually gone to pick up his teammates to give Tentrip a little bit of a hand. This is a 1 versus 3. Yeah, So all Tentrip had to do was stay alive and keep pressure on to allow Philippines now to join the fight.
Yeah, some nades are starting to come out now from Poland. Feeling like they're not going to be able to get it done with just the guns. They got to find another way to get Tentrip down, but reinforcements have arrived. Kalb's at range, not able to really find much either way. Dummett not doing too much damage there, but that's Tentrip again with that Dragunov.
This is just deadly from Tentrip. He has stayed in the fight. He's going to toss a follow-up nade, but for Poland, this is all going wrong. CJ getting within nadeable distance. Cappy is going for the res. Domint needs to keep the pressure on to stop Philippines from surrounding them on all sides, but it ain't that easy. Elgin Bots gets some help from Tentrip as Cappy falls, but Domint will trade it back the other way. Matchsters and Domint now 2 players up against the 3 from the Philippines. They're outside the realm of that BZ nade, but Domint doesn't even have a sight on his AUG.
See if they can get the res, to, or excuse me, the heal to come through for Poland. Domint, as you can see, CJ knows that he could find it, but Tentrip actually dealt with CJ quick to trade though. Looking to go for that flush with the AK, has to reload it to make sure he's got extra bullets just in case the last player from Poland shows up. But it's actually going to be Thailand now, looking to go for the flush on to Tentrip. Algenbots did get rezzed. Oh, he sees the feet there to try to finish what he started. CJ doing a nice job on point. Can this last Poland player get anything else done?
He's one nade. He's inside that shack. If you throw it right, you can find CJ. He's just around the backside of. No, I think he might actually be in it, but Matchsters, he's got no meds other than those 3 bandages, and they take so long to get back up. So you'll see Indonesia, they've got 3 players back up. Chinese Taipei are going to put some pressure on from one side, and you've got all these teams condensing on this point, and the winners of this fight have got a lot of work to do to get back the way they want to be, because you're slowing all your loot phase has been slowed down, your rotate phase has been slowed down, your feet are now caught in the mud. But for Matchsters, he's only 2 or 3 bullets away from falling in this game, and I think he's going to get himself one. So there's the headshot here, Paper, and he's going to dip into the next room. He's going to peek once more, but I feel like this is going to be it for Poland.
Oh, whoa, he gets another. The headshot hipfire spray onto Kalbs. All of a sudden, what looked like he was just going to lose that battle.
The rezzing.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Is anybody else going to get involved? My eyes on Chinese Taipei and Thailand to see if they're going to find an opportunity to strike here and secure some of their own points, and he can't get the final one. Tentrip holds strong, and the Philippines will get back up to 4, but that is so much damage that they've taken. A bunch of knocks, a bunch of damage done to those helmets and vests. They're going to have to find some replacements.
A 10 for his performance, and a triple is the number of kills that he got in that fight for Tentrip, as they get a great start. And another team that'll be looking to bounce back from what wasn't a great start in game number 1 is Team USA, as they have decided to wrap all the way from Los Leones to the west side of the map, and they're going to go up to the north, realizing that that's going to probably be their best avenue of access now. Teddy's trying to pop a tire onto Alo to spin him out and be able to pick up maybe a cheap point for Indonesia, but I think USA have made the right rotate. On the other side of the circle, if you have the match movement, I think that UK should do something similar. Go way up towards Campo Militar and push in towards Oasis from the north. But I guess...
What do we value as priority? Real estate in those spots. Where do we think we can play the best from? Make future rotations if necessary. All those things coming into the minds of these players. Korea setting up a bit of a split. I believe this is a 2-1-1. Gyumin out on his own, closest to the center. The other players just guarding the road that runs from Campo Militar to La Cobreria. Shrimsy's got a bull, not his typical favorite choice of weapon there. It seems like loot was cut a little bit early here for USA to make that rotation, to make sure they could get ahead of some of those other teams, because they knew coming from Los Leones, if they're going to make that wide wrap, they might be running into some other squads. So as we saw, Indonesia was just a step behind them, had maybe an opportunity to pop a tire or something like that, like you were talking about, but not quite able to get there. And Vietnam just taking their time on the edge of the crater fields to see what's going on.
Yeah, loads of space for them to play in and around this position. They're going to be feeling pretty confident as well after what was a brilliant game 1 for them. And yes, you've got China not too far away in the other section of Crater, but you'd like to hope that maybe Australia will keep them honest as all those teams start to just line up on this section of the map. Argentina, they're going to rotate in from the south. They've got about a kilometer of space where there's nobody except China. But what a shift that is. And every single time the circle pops and Korea are somewhere near the center, you can hear the audience give a massive cheer.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And now Korea going to opt for, I believe, more of a 2-2 split potentially. We'll see what Gyumin and Salute want to do. I would expect them to maybe play together a little bit. Reigning in Seoul here, going to be watching Team Denmark rotating out to their east, heading more towards the Oasis. So a lot of teams going to have to figure out ways to get into this new circle because it's shifted quite far to the northeast. So Vietnam on the move, China's going to be on the move, USA, Germany, Argentina, Australia, all needing to find some open space. And, you know, Australia a little bit late to make this rotate. So Tiggleton opting to kind of say, hey guys, let's watch what some of these other teams do. Let's try and play for backfill, maybe on that southwestern edge of the new circle. Oh, this is potentially dangerous for Brazil.
Yeah, I think James just gets out of there, but I think you've got Thailand to worry about who are just above your position. And when you get downrange, downhill from a team like Thailand, if they have got the nades and the utility, you could be in a ton of trouble. Australia, though, you spoke of backfill. I think they're going to take the position that we just saw Brazil vacate, which is a very good staging post for them. And China, well, they're going to go wrap all the way up around the north, and they're going to push in towards where Indonesia are. And Kickstart is going to catch out Zhao Wu on the rotate in, and Team USA will get their first kill of the tournament as well. And that's good for Kick, and that's good for USA. Bad news for China, though. You losing Zhao Wu.
Again, he's early gone for China. That is painful for Zhao Wu. He is such a talented player. I mean, that end game he had, oh, I can't remember, 1v6 at PGS 7 was one of the best plays you'll ever see in PUBG esports. I mean, just straight up godlike stuff from him. So not having him available as these games wear on for China is painful. Yeah, that's not good.
Tire popped, it's just sitting ducks now. DraftKing, he's going to try to run out of trouble here, but for Argentina, Capitan slams on the reverse because it's all he could do, but DraftKing is going to get knocked. 2 minutes until he bleeds out if he can stay inside the smoke for now. But yeah, Capitan, the vehicle's exploding. He's just trying to reverse as close as he can to get into some cover. The explosion will create some, but that's why you aim for tires on vehicles like the Murado, because you're not going to get the kill on the player on side when they're driving at full speed, but you pop a tire, it spins out, it's free.
Yeah, it's so hard to shoot through the Murado's windows. They're so narrow, and anything that isn't windows blocks bullets in PUBG. So like you have to find ways through, so you're absolutely right. The tires, the correct thing to go for there. What I love about that fight, Tiggleton stayed up on top of the crater on the edge. He knocked DraftKing from probably 600, 700 meters, so that is an absolutely disgustingly good long-range shot from him to give Australia a little bit of extra breathing room and to keep Argentina pinned.
First team to get on the move, and they're now getting so close to the center of the circle. They've got all the mountains and ridge lines to play. Really good early decision-making on the circles by Denmark, and UK did make that rotate I expected from them as well, as they'll now backfill the position that Denmark held just a little while ago.
Ooh, that was close there for intent. Korea has to back off of that, though. They can't really try to go for any more damage. They're getting shot at range by Brazil. Philippines had spread way the hell out. They're leaving one player. It's just Algenbot's out here by himself, and he's doing work. He's got some kills. He's got some points.
He's just kind of him, right? He's been so good over these few days. Again, shout out to Kira from the Americas, who said that Algenbots was going to be big at this event. The blue zone nade is perfect. That should deal with Mao Rush if he can get out of that line of sight. But as you said, Algenbots is doing it all by himself, but eventually Australia have said, no, that's enough for you. He'll have to be forced to fall back. And that's got to be frustrating for Algenbots too, because he did so much work, but his team weren't there to help him capitalize it. And now his teammate Tentrip has been knocked way up to the north, and he's probably going to be forced to back off Chinese Taipei and join the rest of his team. China.
Oh, that's another great moment here for Indonesia. China didn't have many good options left. They were just driving around trying to find something free. They took a gamble, trying to challenge Indonesia, and these guys have been really strong this event. So they are right back to where they left off during the survival stage, getting 2 quick knocks and kills onto the Petrichor Road duo of Left and Mingming. And Simoy looking for more, but as we can see, nobody really that close unless it's Chris gets crazy. which it's Chris, so possible.
He's having a look anyway. He's having a look. It's what he likes to do. Argentina, don't stop there. Brazil, stop with the Latam on Latam violence, guys. You wanna give yourselves a little big up in this event, but I guess, you know, I did speak. This is the first one I've got. You got one on day one. I've not had a BRDM yet.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. This is not the player I want. If I'm everybody else in this lobby, if you're a fan of Germany, you're thrilled, because this is the absolute worst person I'd want to see in this thing. You know he's going to come up with something wacky that's just going to catch everybody off guard with it. Brazil, preempting the next zone, wants to get an emergency lift ready to see if they can get ahead of the curve if there is kind of a hard shift on the circle, or use it to get info if the circle just kind of sticks in their favor. So that's what you're looking to see them do, as they are, well, there's a lot of players attaching to it. Let's see. They do all, oh, it shifts towards them though, so they don't need to leave. Yeah, you stay here. Maybe throw one up for info.
Yeah, I like how it was Argentina right behind them with the other one that's basically following the exact same flight path. But I think for Brazil, you're happy. Denmark are still in a really good spot. Korea, I'm going to say, are a really good position as well. And the best thing for Korea is they do have a recall system in that compound as well, if someone does crash and they find themselves in a spot of trouble. But Draft King, he's going to fall. Pick your poison. Do you go towards Vard's running his way? He's going for the shack, but it's James with a headshot. Draft King falls, and Argentina are back to a 3. Make that a 1, make that a none. Korea are going to wipe them out, and the Argentinians will fall.
And look who it is, it's Soul again. 3 kills for him. My God, he is just so damn good at this game. It is just brutal going up against a player of his caliber, and Argentina finds out the hard way. Here's that BRDM. Just keep it safe at this point. I mean, you would love to just get this thing into the late game. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to shoot the hell out of this. They don't want to see it anywhere near that Phase 7, Phase 8 circle, because it becomes exponentially more difficult to deal with. And it's already starting to smoke a bit. You know, teams are going to be, I think, really proactive at destroying these. And yeah, this is going to be the end of a BRDM. Takes quite a few bullets, but if teams combine for it, oh no!
He's stuck.
Is he stuck?
He's stuck. Brax is stuck. And
can you knock him and pick him up and grab him out of there?
You're going to have to try to do something here, but Brax is stuck inside the middle of the circle. Oh, he got out. He got out.
Oh, okay.
And I did want to point out, just before that BRDM blew up, Germany were trying to repair it. They had repair kits, and they were attempting it, but once it started to flame, it was get out of dodge. But for Brax, that could have been so bad. And here, we're going to get Soul's POV. He's so damn good.
He is. I mean, he had been the best player on the planet for a couple of years. Now with, you know, him shifting over to D+, they haven't been able to find success as a team. CJ there finding a nice knock through that window. Michael as well finding a knock onto Denmark. You know, Denmark making some proactive moves, but losing a couple players trying to get into this next circle. Himas just on point with that first grenade. The follow-up from Tanbu, perfect. Taking some damage from the Philippines though. Gonna have to scramble to safety. Vietnam, a clean push there. Yeah, Tanbu does get knocked, but man, that was really nice stuff from them.
And our good old buddy Algin Bots is starting to look this way again. He's heard the action. He thinks he can take it because he's Algin Bots. He's just him. As Sparking and Posa will deal with Tig. USA on the move as Himas will look to pop a tire. Vietnam's other teammates have spotted out the Philippines. Kentrip is still up, but Delwyn will find that knock on to CJ. 3 kills for them, but Calbs is there for the trade. And you can see this is a big fight. Algin Bots has got to get there quickly, but look how close Sololzy was for a second there to Calbs.
The Philippines is such a tricky team to deal with because they fan out so wide in these fights. So Calbs had kept his position hidden. Now Zera stepped, oh, nice grenade from Beamy right into the chin of Sentinel. Beamy finds 3! Huge stuff from him. He is taken down off to the side by Simoy. 1 left here for Indonesia. Stolfi just looking to clean up these points, but grenades are out. I think that just missed the backside of Keter. Simoy, a chance here to do something special. Denmark looking to get the res onto their superstar. Should be coming through. Simoy just trying to stay hidden, looking for his moment.
And if this takes too long, Lil Ghost might get the opportunity to pick up a point or two of the steal if he thinks that's the only way he can get a best salvage game possible. Doffy with the M249 steps on up, but Keter will shut down Simoy. 12 teams left alive as now Alo will get the knock onto Flood as USA and Australia go head-to-head, while the other Australia members are getting really close to Brazil. And keep an eye on that rotate as Korea will lose reigning.
Ah, that's tough. That's tough for Korea. Michael just out in the open, 1v1 winning. Oh, the kiss, the Panzer! The kiss of death is striking. He has tons of damage done. He's looking for more, looking around the backside. It's actually Germany who's helping out a bit here. Brazil is falling, but sparking is there, and the grenade from Kiss spells his doom.
He gets it done. Brazil explosively dealt with at the hands of Kiss, and Korea, well, they're looking from afar, but they can't get closer because Thailand are the team that they need to deal with. But Kiss, what a way to announce yourself to PNC after showing the world what you could do at PGS. I'm looking elsewhere though. Australia, Luke 12. Is he going to make the move towards Kiss? He's going to hop on. He's going to send the bus. Monty's going to smoke it out so they can get closer and closer without being popped. Luke's got the momentum. He's got the pace. Kiss gets the knock, but he should not fall. Luke 12 trades it back as Kiss gets a bit of his own medicine. And Monty, he's not quick enough to get the res as Germany will steal that kill away. But for Australia, they've bought themselves a position inside the circle, and I don't see anybody nearby for now.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to get the points where you can there. And for Australia, they didn't have great options. So that's a guaranteed knock on to Kiss. That's a guaranteed point there for them. Might as well take it. Don't mind that play at all. Korea, though, stuck on the outside of the circle. The UK has done a fantastic job of harassing them and keeping them pinned down, not giving them the opportunity to open up any extra space. So they are going to be tucked in on a bad edge. They're going to have Thailand in the compound underneath. UK full force up here to the north, and UK still doing damage. Keter knocked by Fex, trying to find an opportunity to go for the res. Lil Ghost out in the blue, actually just barely got a heal off. He is going to be sitting out there just trying to survive as long as he can, but he can't get into the placement points. Fex is going to suss him out.
Yeah, better map 2 here for Team UK. A couple of kills on the board, and in the top 10 now as Korea start their move, but they've got to thread the eye of the needle here between Norway and Team UK. This place will erupt if Korea get the first knock on the Team UK and maybe buy themselves a position in. But Michael will get a perfect nade. One of the kill leaders from the survival stage will find that knock. Salute's down to just 22 HP as well. And for Korea, there's so little they can do from the spot.
No, this is an impossible position to be in. Salute, looking for the opportunity, going to switch over to that SLR and then go for the shots, but can't really find the mark well enough. Soul going to be sticking the res onto the IDL. Salute in trouble. Salute able to answer back, though. Able to find one. Now you've got a bad fight here for UK. Michael continues to be just absolutely incredible throughout this event. Salute and Soul. Soul just looking for some nades there. Salute is going to go down off to the side. They're really good, though. Right on the money again.
Soul literally with just perfect nade after perfect nade. Michael is down now as well. As Soul will reposition Korea, giving themselves a chance to get inside the circle. Norway have got Denmark not too far as Gustav will start stepping this way. Steps inside the fire and the flames as he will start losing HP. And Germany from way afar getting knocks on the Norway. Everything is conspiring right now to give Korea a chance to get into the zone.
I think that was Denmark's own molly there. Not sure if it got shot out of the air or a grenade landed or something like that. As the smokes begin to expire around Seoul, he is trying to find his opportunity to strike again onto the UK or Norway. Michael in no man's land still. Rez probably not going to be able to come through. Korea just cutting off the space, making sure that it isn't going to be possible for them to get back. Beck spotted up over the hill. Soul thinks better of the spray, thinks that the grenade might be a better one, but Fex reading that nicely, repositioning back over with Vard, who had taken a ton of damage there, looking to try to hold the line as Norway still maintaining their ground, still maintaining their space. Denmark still tucked in just to their north.
Yeah, Vard will get a knock on the Dauphin now as well as Denmark push this way. Guman will look to help, but Vard gets a knock onto Guman, and Soul steps up, but Keter gets the kill. And Soul, the last player up, turns his attention to Heeman. 4 kills for Soul now, as he's so close to double digits for the tournament after just 2 maps. Here comes Ketter now, but he's going to fall. Down go Korea in 8th place, and they're followed out by Australia as we've got 6 teams left alive, and Norway will look to deal with their compatriots inside the Scandinavian countries as 8C spots out Ketter, but Ketter's not going to go down without a swing, and he does bring down one player with him, but Dofi looks for the trade.
8C trying to hold on for dear life. He got Dofi so weak, throws out the stun, trying to go for the flush. Gustav there trying to prevent it, and he will, but it does fall. Eventually, Ketter down, but 5 kills in this match. 9 total so far for Denmark. Germany, look at this split, 2-2. They are controlling so much of this circle right now, and they are doing a great job of just keeping everybody at arm's length and forcing all these fights out on the edge. But USA has a good chance themselves. 3 up, southern side of the circle, all to themselves. Himas with an AWM with 4 kills already in this game. I mean, 35 points in 2 games already for Vietnam, just missing there.
I always love it. Every time I see any bolt-action rifle, I beg for the headshot. The smoke grenade, though, will come in perfect for Gustav, who should be able to use it to get out of trouble's way. The Germany 2-2 split, as genius as this could be, is now forced in place as it's going to be so hard to collapse, but Brax is going to attempt to do it. He runs back this way. USA, they can mountain climb their way up this hill, and they've actually got so much cover when they make their way up that they could find themselves in a really good position. I think the wild card in this lobby is going to be Vietnam. Up on that north side, if they turn their attention to Germany and catch them cold, Germany could be in a ton of trouble.
Well, Germany has a lot of threats they have to worry about. They have USA underneath them, could find those weird angles that you don't expect them to come from. You've got Thailand hiding over on the eastern edge, and you've got, like you're talking about, Vietnam above you.
ये क्या हो गया?
For themselves to work with here, and they're going to have great angles on their opponents. Let's see if they can do that, but Denmark very wise to this game, and you would expect with a guy like Gustav on your team, he's going to know how to try to keep you as safe as possible for as long as possible. Just a few shots ringing out, but this circle, I think, going to be quiet for a moment. Everybody's going to find at least some safety, I believe. Gustav dueling with Salalzi, but no damage done either way.
Look at it as well, like this time around, Salalzi not quite as many kills as he had in the last map, but we are nowhere near done yet. Germany with another circle shift that goes their way as the USA just keep on climbing. Look, they're getting up the hill, they're getting closer and closer, but Braxco is danger close. So on the other side of that ridge line, remember, this could be a very different game for Germany had that he stayed stuck beneath that BRDM, or had the explosion or even flipping vehicle knocked him.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It would have been much more difficult to control all of the space that they have been for so long. Quiet before the storm right now. Everybody looking for their opportunity, looking for that extra advantage. Brax out in the open, takes a little bit of damage, trying to figure out where the hell USA was. Shrimzy letting him know, follows up with a grenade. If it's on point, he's done. But yeah, that is cooked about as good as it gets there. Shrimzy opening up a little bit of extra space. Here are some shots above him, looking to see if Zareth or anybody from Germany pokes their head out. Alo has to be a bit careful. The point stolen though. Rossida Jr. actually gonna get that.
That's always the threat whenever you get into gunfights in this position, but Denmark have now closed the gap towards the ridgeline as well. Gustav eats a headshot, loses his helmet, but he's still alive and inside the fight, and that's all he could ask for at this point in time. 5 teams left alive: Vietnam, Germany, USA, Thailand, and Denmark. And Denmark are in 2nd place as things stand. They have 9 kills in this game, and they're pushing towards Thailand, and they have the high ground.
Yeah, they're really playing such effective PUBG, such smart PUBG today, as we saw it the second day. A little bit of luck starts to go away, but a grenade there from Rossida Jr. Alo actually going to take down Jacob behind him, so just Rossida on his feet for Thailand. Gustav able to dodge that grenade, has to go out into the blue just a little bit to do so. Thailand thinking about the res. You are going to get the flush, and Gustav going to try to punish this. Knows that Thailand's weak, wants to get every extra point. If he can knock Thailand out, that's going to be placement and kills, and he's got him out the open. Rossett turns on him.
He had the opportunity there, but brilliant switch from Rossett. The res happened in the perfect time, and Thailand are back to 2 players up. Brilliant for them as they now free up so much space. But a good nade from Salolzi. Here comes the Vietnamese push. Salolzi with that first knock. Zerath will fall. Rossett knocked on the south side by Alo as the USA look to keep the south safe. But Mika needs that next knock. Tanvu and Himas turning their attention this way as they will get a knock and a flush. Salolzi with another one. Thailand eliminated by USA. And Germany with just Chris left up, but he's going to go down swinging a knock on to Tanvu. But here's Salolzi. Germany will fall in third, and it's USA against Vietnam for the win.
Looking
Vietnam ही जीतेगा.
for the USA with Vietnam having a player down to try to do some damage here, but the terrain not in their favor. Still a lot of those rocks. Finally,
अरे
Alo able to
rotate किया
start
है,
swinging
मतलब
out
मर
in
गया.
open space, but it's so well held by Vietnam. They were so aware that he could be there. Salolzi, though, going to get traded. Himas has Trimsy down. It's a 2v1 here for kickstart for the USA. Up and over. Himas able to take this chance. Kick, though, is good for it. But here comes Tanvu.
Nice, let's go.
Oh, so close for kick, but Vietnam
क्या खेल रहा है बे?
22 more points added to their tally as they are really showing PNC what they are all about. Probably
क्या
arguably
खेल रहा है,
the
क्या
best player in the
खेल रहा
world
है.
in their roster. And as of right now, they are playing like the best team in the world.
Yeah, and they've got 2 players from the current reigning
Double
champions
chicken
on
dinner,
this squad
let's
as well,
go.
and you can see that they are all on the same page. They're making really good decisions right now. The firepower is crisp. The aggressiveness is there. Like, they know when to pick their moments. And I love the switch there to the sawed-off at the end. That is so heady to take that win, to secure that moment against Kick.
Yeah, and it's just little decisions like that.
क्या नेड था बे?
I've never seen this. I've never.
Fueled by the same passion as esports athletes, Zowie continuously develops tailored products, empowering gamers to bring their best out. Today, we are launching the all-new XL2566X Plus, which uses the newly developed Fast TN panel and upgraded DIAC2 technology. The new monitor series continue to evolve, refining details to ensure players can perform their best consistently in games.
Dominate with speed. Octopus 8K HE. Scanning every key at the speed of light. Customize every key and setting to build a perfect keyboard for your play. Superior keystroke feel. Experience speed like never before. Octopus 8K HE. Azra.
Smooth and original. Straight from the underground. watch out, the furious. Better be focused. Listen to the real funk.
And it goes a little something like this. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on.
혹시 모델업킹 좀
Smooth and original. Straight from the underground.
Day one of PNC is well underway here inside of Seoul. And if you're just joining us now, having missed the first maps of the day, well, all I can say from my notes is Vietnam are very good.
Yes, this is a tremendous start for them, winning both Miramars to start our final stage here on day one of the grand finals. And man, Himas is just unbelievable what he's capable of. I mean, so efficient there with his kills and his damage. Just a tremendous individual player. Tanvu there to clean things up, but this is not what anyone else in this lobby wanted to see, was seeing a team as good as Vietnam off to this strong of a start.
Yeah, and honestly, I think for the team behind, like to change that graphic, the stats are almost the same as what Sololzi was able to do for the team in game at number one. But looking at the overall standings from that match in particular, 22 points, not as many as they got in game number one, but if you were to offer them another victory and another 22 points, they're going to take it every day of the week. But Denmark for the second map in a row, picking up a really nice tally of points.
They're having a great day. I mean, they're playing so well right now, controlling their space beautifully, taking great fights, finding their moments. Ketter had 5 kills in that last game, doing a ton of damage, stepping up for Denmark. And, you know, okay, you're 20 points behind Vietnam, but you know, you never know. We're switching maps. We're switching gears a little bit. Generally, kind of teams that struggled a little bit on Miramar start to pick up the pace. So we're looking towards some of those other teams to get it going. And USA at 5th with 12 points. I mean, so top-heavy, so hungry, so aggressive is Vietnam. And everybody else now going to have to start playing some catch-up.
If Vietnam get just over 20 points over the next few maps, they have done better than what Denmark did yesterday, and what was a phenomenal day. And Denmark are playing as good as they played yesterday as well, and that is one of the things that I think is worth talking about. I feel like the teams that came through the survival stage, even though I'd argue the survival stage can be a lot harder to read because some teams are newer, so you don't know what they're going to do, but it does mean that you're a lot more warmer and acclimatized to going straight into this venue and performing on day one of grand finals.
Yeah, this is always a huge discussion amongst teams is, do you want to play, you know, early so you can get some of that momentum, get your feet underneath you, get warmed up a bit, or would you rather just go directly into these later stages? That's a big question. Philippines playing really well in that previous game, taking some good fights, winning some good battles, but now it is time for game number 3. It's time to Tego here at PNC. Our first look at it here for the final stage. Can't wait, cannot wait, because that was just awesome Miramar. 2 games, just action-packed.
Yeah, if you're a Vietnam fan, you're loving things right now, but if maybe you're a fan of the likes of Argentina or Norway, to remedy your woes and get things going the right way. The flight path, very player-friendly indeed, going from the northeast down to the southwest, finishing just north of Ho San Prison, which should give most of these teams access to their primary drop spots. And I always like to point out some early jumpers. All 3 maps in a row, Germany are one of the first teams off the plane. They want to get boots on the ground and be able to react as soon as the zone pops.
Yeah, and they're going to take their time with it. You know, they're going to get themselves a little bit of extra gear and then make some late rotations to find that open space on the circles as the game kind of wears on. And they've really done a great job of it throughout the event. Obviously, they were in the survival stage. I love the way Germany plays personally. It's kind of reminiscent of some of the older Na'Vi teams and some other teams that do that. But Chris has been around for so long. Like he is a known quantity. I know exactly what he's thinking in a lot of these games.
Yeah, and here we go, our first proper hot drop of the grand finals. Team USA and the Philippines are going to go inside of Palace. And if you would have asked me 2 or 3 days ago, I'd be saying USA would win this all day long. But having seen how the Philippines have performed, they have a really good chance in this hot drop as well. And Tentrip picking up the SMGs. Dropped all condensed, whereas the Philippines have taken a lot of space. And here's the first shots in anger, and Alo almost losing his head.
Yeah, that was darn close for Alo. I don't think he was quite expecting that Algenbots would be wrapped out that far already. Purdy Curdy taking some damage. It's up on the roof. That Tommy gun put to good use by Tentrip. Tough to read right now how the Philippines are approaching this fight, and the USA is paying the price. You expect them to kind of try to fan out early, to try to take space. That had been their MO in the survival stage, but this one, they're being a little more tightly grouped. They're kind of trying to put the pressure onto these weaker flanks of the USA. USA trying to reinforce a bit, but Alo stuck here out on his own. The other two members, Kick and Shrimzy, quite a bit far back.
Yeah, Alo as well with that damage. He's got no other meds, so he's going to wait for the health to tick up. Calbs has wrapped all the way around the south to the other little compound adjacent to Palace, which will give him an angle and lines of sight onto the south side of Palace on whether USA move this way. But this is what you expect. Teams getting up onto the roof lines, having a peek this way. Tentrip is going to be insane, but the problem, if there's any problem with those SMGs, they don't get the headshot bonus that the DMRs that USA are going to give them, which gives USA a firepower advantage in these fights.
Yeah, so USA opting with losing a player early to try to put the long-range weaponry to good use. So the Philippines maybe going to have to rethink this one just a bit. You can see that they do have a flanked-out player in Calbs, trying to find that off angle. Thailand is going to scooch in around the outside of this to look to see if they can be some vultures, pick off some of the carrion that may be available if this fight gets really hot and heavy. Just wait and see what exactly these teams want to do. Level 2 helmet scooped up there for Tentrip. He still has that Tommy gun in play, looking to try to take some space. So it's going to be on Kick to try to keep his eyes onto him. But there's quite a bit of cover there for Tentrip to make his way forward. The real issue, as we know, but these teams do not, is that Thailand is danger close.
Yeah, and I love this too. Look at the way they're playing. 2 players in the middle, 1 either side. That means the 2 in the middle can move where they need to help either of the solos if needs be. So it's really clever from Thailand. Kick's got to be so careful, but Thailand don't want to fire until they're guaranteed a knock. It's not worth giving away their position until they're guaranteed points in the fight. Now, USA still playing in each other's pockets, which I think they have to do whenever you're down 1 player. And Philippines still putting the work in. A nade does a little bit of damage. And you know that the voices are telling Kiss to fire, but Kick's been in the game long enough to know never stand still.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not going to give him the chance until a player of the Philippines gives him the opportunity to go for some shots. So Kiss just going to have to wait things out. Did see a Panzer in Thailand's back pocket as well, so they could let that loose. They're close enough where if they can judge the distance correctly, they could arc a shot in there, maybe get a quick knock onto the USA. Alo just going to hide in this corner, trying to play a tricky off-angle position here. Let Shrimzy, let Kickstart identify where the Philippines are going to be coming from, and then make your moves off the back of that. The Philippines, though, very wary of this, and rightly so. Got some great players, but look at Rossiter Jr.
Yeah, he's crept right up onto the wall, and the USA have been waiting for Philippines to push aggressively, which has not happened, and that has allowed this, but we've got a crash elsewhere. X left. He's got to be so careful, and he's going to get the first spray off, and Gustav manages to avoid the fire and the flame, and X left, he's going to absolutely beam onto Beamy. How do you win that X left? And Denmark, well, Gustav, he manages to run away, but poor Beamy will fall. Now, X-Left will fall back to get some meds on, and the rest of China are going to collapse onto this position. Gustav needs to smoke off this area to get Beamy back on his feet. But X-Left has played this so well and allowed all of China to regroup into this fight.
Oh, that grenade, if it had just been cooked a little bit more, could have gotten a knock. Dofi there, able to put some more damage in, but Xiao Wu on the off angle. Ketter going to respond on to Ming Ming. Wu goes finding one of his own. Here we go, back over to this fight. Rossiter Jr. No, he can't get it through. He can't get it Kuria through the wall. Alo doesn't take any damage. Alo's gonna take Crossity Jr. down. Kiss does get kicked. Alo is gonna be in trouble here. Back over to the fight. Gustav looking for another angle onto Xiaowu.
This is big for Denmark. They've had a brilliant start to the day. China, on the other hand, things have not gone their way, but what a need that is. And it's actually going to be Korea now third-partying this fight, as Seoul has got Gustav in his sights. Two members of China down. Little Ghost will deal with Gustav, but he's the last player up. And I'm going to say it, you know Korea want to wipe China here. There's nothing better than wiping out a country that is so close geographically to you.
Oh, absolutely, and you know China's going to be a threat in this event, so you would love to just hamstring them early. I was kind of curious if Korea would get a little bit more aggressive. You knew that two players of China were down there. They should only have one left if your kill feed tracking properly. Yeah, Kuming looking for that off angle. Meanwhile, Vietnam taking good fights once again. A couple players of Norway down here. They're trying to find some level of safety, and they're not being offered much. It's actually Argentina's Capitan who is going to take James out of the equation. Salalzi as well, good for one himself. So Norway has to try to find some level of safety. Ken intends get back over to 8T or vice versa. This is not looking good for Norway.
Yeah, Delwyn's going to crawl through the smoke as the wall continues to be thrown, and Tens is going to fall back, so it looks like Norway have given up that fight. Gumin, though, he's going to catch out Little Ghost, and the trap is perfect. China minus one more. It's down to Xlift and Xiaowu, who will look to fight back for their side. But for the rest of Korea, this is more points on the board. Sitting in third place in the leaderboard after two maps, and yes, it's incredibly early, but they are going to know where they are, and they know who they're fighting. But can Xiaowu catch out Salute? Because this is the thing. This is where that player hiding has the advantage, because Korea have to corner check so many positions, and it will give Xiaowu the advantage.
Xlef just took a bunch, but Xiaowu, just like you said, had that hider's advantage. He's able to claim one before Rating gets in there and deals with him. Xlef able to get a first aid through, but he is just trying to get the hell out of here. The terminal, he's looking for the bus to get the heck away, find a new home. Looks like he has done so. Korea there tried to get through it as cleanly as possible, but losing one early again, you know, we've seen what they can do getting into those late games, but you'd love to have that fourth player. Is there going to be a recall in their future?
Yeah, there's one not too far away in Terminal, but I wouldn't be surprised if Xleft thought about staying in the area for Korea to leave and maybe then pick it up to try and get his teammates back. And I think Xleft's going to do that, right? He's going to stay somewhere around. Maybe Korea go for it. That could be a free kill or two for him. Or if Korea get bored and leave, which is what they've done, he can potentially go back and bring China back into the game. But he doesn't know. Like, how is he to know they've left until he moves over to that section?
It is a tough gamble here for Xleft. Korea taking the safer res option, going back to Yongchun to get a player back. So not too bad at all in terms of taking a good fight, finding a good opportunity. I feel a bit bad for China, to be honest, because they were just kind of looting and doing stuff, and then Denmark just crashes in there. Rossita Jr. also going to be called back in for Thailand as they were able to get away from that fight. The Philippines survives, USA goes down, and we are going to get the res. That brings a round of applause from the home team crowd. He's going to have a bit of a drop, but I think he's okay. I don't think Korea really is going to do much about that, raining in his car. So, yeah, should be A-okay for the IGL of Thailand.
The Art of War, a really famous book that, you know, comes from this part of the world, talks about knowing your enemy. And look how Raining knew that Xleft was probably going to go towards that recall system. So he doesn't even take the risk. He goes north to Yongchun to not even give Xleft the opportunity to catch their players cold. It is so good situational awareness for South Korea to make that decision. And one of the teams that typically tend to play a bit more passive and play for the late game has always been Chinese Taipei. They're pushing into Terminal now as well, and I think that this could work out for them, at least for getting into the placements, but a lot of teams seem to have similar mindsets.
Yeah, it's going to get spicy around Terminal, seemingly. The two surviving players of Norway going to find their way to the north side of this city. Xleft just going to hide in a shack. He's got to just be kicking himself. You know, if they could have just won that fight a little bit cleaner. Oh, God, Vietnam. Oh, the drive by Tanvu from the side seat against Marsalek. They're going to crash in here. Poland. Oh, Matster gets a couple, but Salalzi finally able to put him down. The extra numbers gonna end up in his favor. What a turn there from Cappy! Surviving with 10 HP, keeping Poland alive.
One of the nicest people in the game doing damage, but the nade from Mao Rush will wipe out Masters. Vietnam are looking like they might not get a victory in a map for what could be the first time today. Mao Rush will wipe out Tanvu, looking to do more damage as he looks inside, but for Vietnam, this is not what they had in plan. With just one player left standing. Cafe, can Marsalek get close enough? The answer is no, as X left from China will pick up another point for them as reinforcements will come in from the sky as the second buyback recall plane will come in from above. But I'm looking elsewhere, right? Look at where some of these teams are going to go. Thailand are going to wait it out on the north side of the circle. But Chinese Taipei, 4 kills after this amount of time? This is so much better from them from an aggression standpoint.
Yeah, you gotta love that from Mao Rush. Just so opportunistic there. Saw the kill feed light up, heard it right next to him. Immediately went to pounce. Korea, though, hunting with some Panzers, looking to see if they can get some damage for themselves. They're hearing the same kind of thing going on. You're hearing all this fighting. Aches left though. Oh, he would love to get a few extra kills onto Korea after they third-partied that fight earlier. Oh, no, no, no. Trick there. Just cars flipped. Danger. Oh, this is bad. Oh, no. T-Bone really clean shooting, and he's going to get some points.
It looks like they T-boned each other and then they got T-boned from afar as he was able to pick up those 2 knocks, and those should be 2 points to Team UK. Smoke grenades are being sent out, but there shouldn't be enough time to get that res. And there you go, Teddy will see that point delivered. And this is what you'll see with a Panzer. Korea will send 1 player with a Panzer, 1 player behind them. So if you fire the shot off, you get the knock, your teammate can clean up anything or get that instant res on the other side. But let's take a replay at this one from Team UK. It looks like Brazil were the target for Vex. And yeah, great spray from him. Turns his attention over to Posa then on the other side and read him like a book.
Wow.
Oh, that is so clean from Vex. It's hard to do it better than that. He has gone down for the UK, so they're 3 strong. They've got Australia right on their heels. Cuban's still looking for some kind of target with this Panzer. They know that Aches left is around here somewhere, and they want to clean him up. More kills for Chinese Taipei as Delwyn gets sussed out. He was the sole survivor for Vietnam, and he was just trying to hide things out himself, but not going to be given that opportunity. Flood trying to get ahead. Monty trying to keep UK pinned so they can make this wrap around their edges, and it looks like they're going to be able to successfully do so. I think they're going to be pretty happy with this situation. They're going to be able to go up to the top of that mountain there over to the east of Terminal, and they're going to have quite a bit of zone control for themselves, assuming that they don't run into Thailand, although Thailand might be scraping with Germany.
Yeah, and I'm looking like, I think Thailand, they'll just play this compound on the other side of the road. There's no reason for these 2 teams to push each other just yet, but keep an eye on Australia. They're wrapping in from the eastern side. They've got tons of space to work with. They wrapped all the way from the south. The only thing that could potentially happen to them is maybe Team UK could look to follow up this direction as well, as there is a couple of good compounds in this section of the map that are open and available. But I'm looking way down the south, and I just wanted to point this out. BL has just tried to buy back his teammates, and Indonesia, they had the same idea. They knew that there was a player going for the res, and BL was ready for it. But the question is, did they get the buyback completed? I don't think they did.
Look at this. Australia.
Yes, I knew it would happen.
They turned around. They're going for the UK again. UK trying to fight back a bit. There are so many Panzers here for Korea. There's a shotgun, though, for Cappy, but that, you know, might get one if you're lucky. Korea being really cautious about this.
He knows.
Yeah, he's got an idea. Around that corner, Cappy holding it. He gets one. He gets one. He might get the finish. That is Soul down there as Gumin actually kills his teammate and doesn't get the knock. He's going to look for the grenade. I mean, Cappy should be dead to rights for all intents and purposes, but losing Soul in that moment, so painful.
Yeah, but that's really good for Poland, salvaging more points, and for Korea, they'll lose one. Vard, the last player standing now for Team UK, as Australia with 3 players up. But you can see the bleed out. Look, 12 will now go down, but T-Bone, Another point for Australia. And it looks like the UK are going to attempt the res onto Michael, who has been so good over the course of this PNC. They should get the res off. It'll happen right on time. And Monty, as he so often does for Team Australia, will be the spear. He will be the initiator in this fight. And that nade from Michael is really good. But Monty, he wanted to hold because he thought that they were going to chase that nade.
Oh, Aches left, able to spring a trap. Korea's been looking for him, but they have been the ones who have been found. And that's a nice grenade there. That's a bunch of damage. Monty is going to get
कैसा खेल रहा है एक्चुअली अब देख रहे हो चाइना का
again to go huge for the UK. Monty has other thoughts. They've got him pinned behind the fence. He sees him moving, head up and over, a close range Dragunov. Worried about running out of bullets. Vard around the corner. Vard, how are you still alive? Finally dealt with it. It's actually Sparking who gets the kill.
And they got them back. So all of Brazil are back inside the fight. And if they win this fight with Australia, all the loot that they could want is available for Brazil. But Australia flood the last player standing, and Brazil are going to crash this compound. Timing is working out perfect. Anticipates that they're going to not push off the back of that. He thought he could get the res off, but a good nade from Sparking will secure that point. But Monty, as soon as he was back up, he's shut back down, and this is so good for Brazil.
Yeah, this is really nicely read by Sparking. Those were fantastic grenades. Reading the position, and the Panzer's good as well. Australia goes down, and that opens up so much opportunity for Brazil.
The king of the south, Sparking gets it done, but Korea are not done as Jia will be wiped out by Korea. Savior looking for the trade on the other side. He's got Raining just in front of him, and they're outside the circle. Now Salute, the temptation has got to be there to go for that recall, but you can't go for it until you've dealt with Savior. Raining's got a nade at the ready, so they know that there should be a Chinese Taipei player not too far away. And look at this, Thailand bringing the fight to Germany.
Yeah, finally this battle, which had been flirted with by both teams, is going to be a bit of an engagement. Zareth gets a scrape of damage and over to the other side. Thailand, though, being diligent, being slow, being methodical. Rossiter Jr., though, stuck behind that rock with just a vehicle in front of him. A good grenade, all cooked a little bit too much by Mika there. He is getting some damage in. That grenade might have gotten a knock. Savior, though, finds his moment to strike. The res system activated here for Korea. And Savior, beautiful patience. Exactly what I was thinking he should do. Just wait for the recall system to be attempted and then go for it. You have to survive here as Salute. You can't stick this res onto Raining safely. You're out in the open. All you have is smokes. If that's a frag, they're in trouble. Oh, it went just too far if it was. Or could have been a molly as well. Goes into the back room, so Savior can't prevent the res.
Whether by design, by force, or by chance, Korea went for the res outside, and Savior baited it inside, so it worked out perfect. And Salute will get the kill as Korea deal with Chinese Taipei. And guess what? Reinforcements are going to come in. The hometown team are about to be back as a 4. And while some things look like they're meant to happen, this game could be playing right into Korea's favor, because you should be able to get them back in the terminal and get them looted up as well.
Indonesia wants to try to get back themselves, but look who it is again. It's Brazil's BL who wants to do something about it. Grenades are out early. 10 trip, taking some pod shots, some damage done here. BL, gotta be careful there. Philippines has an angle onto him, trying to get further forward, trying to see if he can do some damage with those grenades. Still has 2 more in the bag. Gonna take a moment to pause to go for the first aid. Here comes Sparking in the Porter, right around the edge there. Trick trying to escape. He has no gun, and that makes it easy pickings for Sparking.
The spark that lights the fuse, oh so often for Brazil, gets 2 members of Indonesia down. Now 10 trip for the Philippines, who's been deadly with DMRs, is trying to put some pressure on the Brazil, but they've secured the south flank. They can now go back to Santa's position, but this is great for Brazil. The last player for Indonesia inside a terminal, way too far away for Brazil to worry about for now, but Korea, 9 kills on the board, about to be back as a 4. They need to work their way into the circle, but they got to be careful that they don't get caught out by the likes of Norway or Teddy from Indonesia on that pathing in.
Well, they're going to grab some shotguns because they know they have to fight for city space, because if they're going to get those players back, they got to get them into the city proper so they can get them some guns, get some utility, get some armor, get some vests, all the things that you need to take proper fights in PUBG. Norway, though, is going to be a team that's going to be in their way. Teddy from Indonesia as well in the vicinity. So for Korea, it has to be really safe stuff here from Reigning and Salute. They have to be efficient. Teddy knows they're there. He knows they're coming. He's going to cook the grenade. If he bounces that properly, they're in trouble. They're able to prone down and avoid the knock. Really nice reaction. But Teddy continuing to put pressure down, wants to try to go around the corner here. No, just the K2 there for him. Reigning throwing out some smokes, trying to see if they can cut this angle off, but here is the Panzer. Amali in his way, Teddy around the corner, but does he know there's a shotgun there? What a spin from Teddy!
One more to deal with, another Panzer fired and wasted for Korea as they look back towards Teddy. Now all the hard work, bringing the players back, loading up that Dacia with loot, could all be for naught if Teddy is able to deal with them. But here comes the reinforcements. The rest of Korea are back in the fight. And look at the coach. He is as calm as he could be, but you know for a fact there's nothing calm about this fight as Philippines look towards Korea as well. They're trying to get some weaponry on board, some firepower to take the advantage, but Indonesia are dealt with, and a 10 trip will get a knock on the Reigning as here come the Philippines.
This grenade could be devastating, and it just barely scrapes in. Seoul has been knocked, so just Gyumin with a micro Uzi. Now come the blue zone grenades. Korea completely pinned inside of this structure. Gyumin somehow able to clean up that kill. Inten's got the knock. Gyumin able to get some extra points for Korea, so they've got 10 kills on this one. The barrage continues. Philippines actually gonna have a P90 for themselves. That's a nice piece of weaponry coming into this late game scenario. Rez comes through. Seoul back on his feet. Should be a little bit of stuff available for them on the ground there, as Norway now has Philippines in front of them. So that might have bought a little bit of extra time for Korea to get themselves stabilized.
Yeah, Brazil just looking to position and take control inside the circle. They are the only team with a clear path inbound other than Thailand. Santa will stay to the north, while the rest of Brazil will just hold
ब्राजील तो एकदम गेट कीप कर रहा है.
This could be a feeding frenzy for Brazil and Thailand as all these sides look to leave terminal, and both of them are setting up that way. Kiss for Thailand is holding the north, and then Posa and Sparking are holding the south. I love the way Thailand are looking at this as free meals.
I really want to see Santastico play his life over on that eastern edge of the circle. He's going to be really important in the late game here for Brazil if they're going to get the win, because these three players here should just be able to tunnel down onto this fight that's going on inside of terminal proper. Korea trying to get further forward, but they are in trouble. So much open space to cross, and it would take an insane amount of smokes. Gyumin gets the heel off, and Nazi striking. Philippines were busy looking in other directions. Gyumin, not much he can do here. Gets the first aid off, but this blue is so painful, and Korea goes down.
Yeah, Norway are down to just in 10s now, but Korea do a lot of good work in that last map to close the gap to Vietnam. But that is just a chapter in the book that is even just this Tego, as we are yet to find out what the final story will be. Santa, you talked about playing his life. He catches out Rocinid, who was all the way to the north by himself, and that's really bad news now for Thailand. He has eyes on the rest of the roster as well, and here come the other South American side as Argentina push directly towards Jacob as they see the opportunity. Emmy gets the read, DraftKing gets the knock in Thailand. Well, it's only Kiss left standing, but Argentina take a big knock from that nade.
Oh, he's throwing some good ones in there. Kiss even gets the vehicle explosion to go. Emmy's in trouble right on the edge of a blue zone. Wants to find some way, maybe get a res. Meanwhile, traded knocks here for the Philippines and Brazil. In fact, 10 trip gonna claim Posa's life. So all of a sudden, Brazil maybe in a bit of trouble here, trying to keep their eyes over towards this battle of Argentina and Thailand. Kiss, oh my God, 1 HP.
Oh, how is he still standing as Santastico? Santa will give Capitan a present he does not want to receive, and that will be that for Argentina on Tego. It's Brazil against the Philippines. Calbs is down. They're on the edge of the circle, and here come Brazil. All they've got to do is secure the circle, play smart. But this is Philippines. They have proven they can go toe-to-toe with the best teams inside this lobby, and they have got all their deadliest weapons still alive and inside the game. Brazil, they might think this game is in their hands, but they're at the risk of getting caught out with 2 players from the Philippines wrapping towards Sparking at the one time. One knock for Philippines blows Brazil's defense wide open.
Exactly, and that P90 is going to be pivotal. Calb's there. Now they know where Sparking's at, and they immediately put a shot into his head. He has to get down on the ground and get this heal off. Philippines knows it, and they know that they can crest the other side of this hill and keep themselves obscured from the rest of Sparking's teammates. So Sparking has to play incredibly well here on his own, and he's playing safe, but Philippines looking to see if they can punish. Sparking into the vehicle. Is he going to be able to get away for free? Good covering fire from Santastico is going to open up the opportunity.
Yes, Santastico just does enough to allow Sparking inside the circle and gets himself out of trouble. Now we're seeing deployable cover being tossed out by the Philippines, but how much utility do they have? 2 smokes for Algin Bots, and that's not a lot. He steps out over the precipice, and that will be Santa, dealing a ton of damage, and that forces him back into cover. But this is a slow blue zone as we get deeper inside this game. Santa does even more damage onto Algin Bots. He has got so many moving targets, and it is so hard to just focus on one when you're getting distracted by so much movement.
Tough situation now that the Philippines face. They do have some extra cover there with those emergency ones. And, you know, every time they're popping up, they are getting popped. Brazil here has great angles onto this fight. So now smoke's going to come through, but the Philippines have been fighting tooth and nail throughout this game. Think back to the very beginning when they had a hot drop against the USA. Thailand showed up to try to third party it, and they have found themselves into a 3v3, but a really difficult position to make their way out of. On top of that, Rock Sparking gets the knock on a 10 trip.
And that's the big one. That's the initiating one. But Sparking being held back by that blue zone nade, but using the opportunity now as Santa to cross the road. Philippines will go for the res, but while all that's going on, the P90 from Calbs needs to hold them back. The nade from BL is perfect as 2 fall, and now Calbs in a 1 versus 3 against the never stopping tidal wave of Brazilian players. Calbs will spot out Santa. He gets one. He's not done yet, but he is done. BL will do it, and it is Boa Noche Philippines and bye Brazil.
Just so well handled in that late game. That is incredibly disciplined play. Sparking there, not giving up his life. Santastico winning that edge battle against Thailand. All of those things, all of those individual moments. You know, when I say you play your life, you gotta just survive sometimes. And that's what they do, because they give themselves the better angles, the better territory inside of that circle to work from.
And I couldn't be happier for these Brazilian players, having spoke to them over the course of the year. All of them, as we throw to the highlights, all of them except for Santa is the only one who doesn't speak English on that roster. But seeing them finally come together, and this is the thing, the teams in the survival stage with newer players, they've had the chance and opportunity to play in a live server. This is Brazil's first real live server, you know, LAN game together that's not really just a practice scrim.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 3 new players to this Brazil team this year, right? Just Sparking the holdover from previous PNCs, and you can't credit them enough with how well they played that end game. I mean, things got nuts inside a terminal. So many recalls came through for a bunch of different teams, but the way that they went over and got themselves back up and running in the middle of that game, and then took a great fight to finish what UK and Australia had started here, and to give themselves the utility, the weaponry that they need to accelerate into the late game. Sparking there with a great Panzer, and you can see that's got him fired up. Australia, tough one, you know, able to take a decent fight, but they did so much damage that they just couldn't really hold off that aggression that Brazil brought. But this game, and a lot of these games today, all about finding those moments for third parties.
There was just something about that game for a while too, where I thought everything was conspiring for a Korea victory. But they got caught, you know, they left, X left earlier on in the game, and he was able to get a knock and a flush onto them. And then it was solo players in Norway that stuck the telling blow on the Korean side. But they still got a bunch of points. Like, it's still, you know, it's not a win, but it's another good game for Korea, and they closed that gap to Vietnam, which is still massive.
Exactly. I mean, that's the best part about this game. If you're looking from the perspective of a Korea fan, is, hey, okay, We did pretty good in the first couple of games, and now we're able to really bridge that gap because, you know, you got to be worried about Vietnam just running away with things. They go for a bit of a crash there against Poland, and it doesn't go so good, and then Bao Rush was right there to clean up a bunch of kills in that spot. So wild game there around the edges of the terminal. Fun circle, fun finish, and now we look towards Wando for map number 4.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Another one of our little break maps in the middle as we get a look. But let's see how our top 4 teams performed in that one. No surprise, big game from Brazil. Utility usage maybe not as high as what we've seen from other map winners today, but they were another team that benefited from the recall system. Remember, BL went for the res, and he had to hold back a fight of his own whenever teams tried, I think was it Indonesia, that tried to bring back their players.
Exactly. And then Indonesia came in with a recall of their own, but it was late, and so they just couldn't take a fight. They had nothing to work with when then Brazil again capitalized on that and took them down. So you got to be a little bit careful with those recalls, because otherwise you're just going to feed points over to your enemies. And that was one of those situations where Brazil just a step ahead. A lot of kills for them, 12 as well, 10 for Korea, 7 apiece for Thailand and the Philippines. So APAC coming in strong, obviously Vietnam, but you know, we know the Philippines can frag. We know Thailand has star players, and speaking of stars, Sparking is a known quantity.
Yeah, and I love this kid. I really do. He's the best Brazilian player that we've seen being produced. His tattoo says time's up and you got to be better than yesterday, and he's a player who strives to always be better than the previous day. And you know what? A good competition for Brazil here. He might finally get to buy that jet ski that he was hoping to buy.
The man is just wanting that jet ski so bad, and this is a great game for him to get closer to that dream. Fun stuff there. 22 points again. You know, our top teams always seeming to get at least double digits kills in these games. And they have been so furious. 12 points for Korea to match Thailand, who get third in terms of placements. Argentina with a nice one there. Really nice to see them coming out with some good performances. A little bit of a weird situation they ended up in. Kiss just landed some beautiful grenades, and all of a sudden their round was basically done.
Yeah, I think the Kiss has just really taken PUBG by storm in the last few months, and I am so impressed. As I am impressed at how good Vietnam have been with their 49-point total. Thankfully for the rest of the lobby, they didn't extend that lead by too much in that last map. Korea and Brazil now inside the top 3 as Denmark will fall out. USA getting a couple more points on the board. But for Chinese Taipei, first points of the grand finals. Much better game from them, really good at picking up some points where you maybe stealing kills away, taking the right advantage of knocks on other sides. Much better from Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, need to see some more of that for Leo's last hurrah here at PNC. So far, the top 8, a big difference between Vietnam and China. That is a massive gap there. A lot of work to do yet. And again, I think China just kind of a little bit unlucky there in that situation. I don't think you expect a team to just full-on crash that northwest corner of terminal like that. I get it in some ways now with the recall system in there, so spots like that become a lot more desirable because you're like, well, if we can win, the close quarters battle, then we can get to that recall, so it doesn't matter if we lose players along the way. So kind of the math of PUBG has changed quite a bit with that system being put into place.
Yeah, and like you said, you can get multiple points off some players now as well. As we got to look at the crowd, we've got some Brazilian fans in the house today. I think no matter what the event, no matter where in the world, Brazilian fans travel and they're happy to be here. And shout out to all the people who have traveled, and shout out to the viewers at home as well who maybe couldn't attend for one reason or another. But the venue for the first day of grand finals is looking great.
Thailand 301%. Yeah, they are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, you would think. Continue to just love that Philippines have been given the opportunity and they are making the most of it. They are just fearless, man. They are willing to take fights. Like, I think back to that second Miramar game in the space they were taking there, like when that circle hard shifted up towards Oasis. I'm like, you guys have a tremendously wide split. Like, that's really tough to pull off, and they're still making it happen. So you got to love what you're seeing. Norway trying to get their fans into it, trying to get themselves into it. I can see a Norwegian flag pinned up there on one of the rails in the fan section. So they are feeling good. UK playing okay. Michael has continued what he started during the survival stage.
Yeah, they've all been really good. Like, I think for the UK, they're playing well. It's just some other teams are playing out of their skins. Like, if you said to UK, would you be happy with this point tally after a couple of games? They would have taken it. You know, it's not like all we, you know, obviously they'll always want more, but they've been steady. And being steady over the 3 days is not going to be enough. You need to get more. And yeah, here's the fans that I love, the Norwegian fans. There's so many of them. There's only 3 in that picture because the rest are probably, you know, out at the moment, but they're having a ball. Like they were over hanging out with the Norwegian players yesterday, and honestly, I'm so excited to see people who've traveled thousands of miles to see their favorite teams.
Yeah, no, it is so cool. PNC is always so fun because you get fans from literally everywhere that come here and are supporting their region, supporting their players. A ton of fans of Korea. Those are some nice jerseys. Some Gyumin fans, some reigning fans there. Love to see it as jerseys were available out front to be purchased today. So a lot of people getting to support their favorite team even more. Germany, dude, just steady as she goes. Just kind of, this is their brand. This is their PUBG, and they continue to play it pretty well, I think. I don't know what happened with that fight with Thailand, but still, overall today, I think they're playing just fine.
Yeah, Thailand brought the fight, and Rondo will hopefully bring the heat as we are into the second half of day one. Rondo, which brings a little bit of randomness that some of the other maps don't have, is going to come live and into the action here from Seoul. And we're getting a look at Jadena City, and I've only ever seen a Jadena City finish once, and the players, I'm going to be honest, they didn't know how to deal with it because they'd not seen it either.
No one goes there. You know, like it's just like it's often just completely disregarded in drop spots, other than maybe like a really kind of late like alt drop that you don't want to go there because it's hard to rotate in and out of there. It's actually, you know, there's a bunch of bridges you have to cross, and if you want to go north, like there's only one bridge on the north side, and it's actually close enough to other people's drop spots that it makes it dicey. If you end up swinging way up north near Meiran, you're going to have some problems crossing into there. So there's just so many choke points coming out of that peninsula. It makes sense why nobody wants to go there. Do I drop there when I play the game? Yeah, because I think it's fun. but for the pro scene, it's kind of not the best.
And I'm just going to say it for the people who are really excited to see China and Australia dropping inside of Test Track. A lot of teams, you'll see teams drop here, and the fight never really kicks off in earnest. But I think that China actually want to deal with. No, they've stolen the Pika bus and they've retreated. So they're saying, okay, you're going to take that spot, we're going to take the vehicle. So in a way, they've harmed Australia's chances. And what is going on here? Chinese Taipei with a really late drop and somehow getting the player in on top. But this is not a spot that you tend to see hot drops in.
No, this is rather surprising as Intense trying to use that mutant. Mao Rush has a QBZ. So both players just kind of letting each other know they're there. Saw a shotgun in the hands of James. He's looking to identify a Chinese Taipei player. Saw that JS9 in the hands of one of them as they're trying to make their way through. This is pretty wild. James thinking about the grenade. 8C, the revolver, I'm hoping we can find you an upgrade, my friend.
I hope so too. But if he is going to use it, I hope he gets knocked with it, because it'll be fun to see as Jia Wei will take a ton of damage. JS9 and no meds at the ready. He needs covering support from his teammates. 8C to see him down to 1 HP, but Intense is going to get dealt with by Mao Rush. And Erez will be pulled off onto Leo here as well. So things not quite going Norway's way, but a win in this battle will, of course, lead to an instant buyback. Oh, James, he got knocked with a nade in his hand there, Paper, and he's going to fall. And now him and 8C are the only two players standing for Norway.
Nice shot there. At least getting the knock on a Chai Wei, but losing Intense on the backside makes this so much more challenging for Norway overall. Not only is it going to be likely a 2v4, but you lost that flank angle, and you had no ability to cover that, to try to, you know, trade the knock or, you know, take a better fight. Instead, Chinese Taipei has everything in front of them until look who it is. Your top fragger from the survival stage. Trick shows up to the party, and it's Leo in the head. Mao Rush underneath with an MP5, jumping down, and he's got Iman before he can even get there. 8C all on his own.
This is the one. This is a really. Oh, it's the third party. Indonesia doing some damage, but Itzy and Savior and a 1v1. Savior's going to go for the repeat. Itzy pre-fires, but Savior wins the fight, and it's 4 more points for Chinese Taipei. But the thing is, Indonesia, they've gone. They've let them be, so Chinese Taipei will get the reses off, and they'll get the recall done. So this is really good for that side, and it's really good for their confidence as well to go head-to-head with a team like Norway, who were really good in the survival stage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have got to be feeling great about Chinese Taipei and the way that they've been kind of handling themselves. Overall, not bad. Love to see it. Those MP5s, really annoying. Ah, yes. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I knew with Thailand here, we'd be getting some glider play, and Fluky going to be the one to go up into the air for them. Try to do that early scouting. You know, a lot of the Thai teams, but especially Theraton 5, which is Rossiter Junior's team, they love to do that, especially on this map.
Yeah, get as much information as you can. Another team that are well known for doing it is Germany. And I think that's exactly what Braxco is doing on the very north side of the map. He should be taking to the skies momentarily as well. And when we asked Korea what was their motivation going into this here, they just said, watch us lift their 3rd trophy. They're going for the 3-peat. And in and of itself, when you're the reigning champions and you're essentially the hosts, it puts a target on your back. And there's so many teams, 15 other teams here who want to steal that trophy away. And I think that actually, I think Korean players, Korean teams and Korean orgs love being the hunted. They love being the team with the target on their back.
Oh, no doubt about it. They're very happy to have you try to come at them, because they will take those fights, and they are so tough to deal with. The talent level on that team just through the roof, having Sol there in particular, who is hungry to showcase his abilities at the global level again. And the other team that you should not be even a little bit surprised about getting a glider is Germany. Brex saw him a lot during the survival stage. You see it all over the place internationally, that they love these gliders for themselves, love using it to get that info, and it really suits their style in particular. They use it in very different ways than Thailand. Thailand's looking for stuff in the middle. They're trying to figure out what's going on ahead of them so they can work their way forward, whereas Germany's using it to scout the edges, looking for some clear space, looking for maybe a third party or a fight they could take, an isolated player here or there. So very different ideas, even though they both are using the same vehicle.
It's a Sand 101, right? That's just the way they have always played. But over here, by the hills, China getting really close to Brazil. Now, Zhao Wu has not had the day that he would have wanted so far. The first 2 maps, one of the first players to fall overall. This time around, getting super close. As Savior will be able to bring back their teammate. And I think they just waited for the next play-in. But I think Brazil have set up a really good trap. And I think that they've just about got the buggy tight enough to the mountain that it's going to be very last second that China are able to spot it. But am I seeing a team pick up potentially right on top of that mountain that these teams are on? Nope.
They haven't got off yet.
Yeah.
You can see a few teams just putting some shots. Gumin getting way up on the stadium. But Philippines have identified a free compound and should be, I would assume, okay-ish to land. Plus, there's one of these, I call it Pillars of God, the really tall mountains there to get up on top of. As Dofi taking some shots. Nobody's even landed one yet, so able to get there. Can be a little tricky to work from this position, though. Tons of info, but you got to be clean with those DMRs, because once people start shooting at you, you don't have a lot of recourse sometimes. You have to just get down and prone.
And if CJ gets knocked, Calbs will obviously parachute down to get the res. It's very difficult to clean these players up. But for the Philippines, they're so close to the center that in theory they should be in the next phase, and maybe even the phase after that, depending on what way it goes. I don't do phase predictions because it means nothing until phase 4 of a game. I know back in the day we used to love trying to predict where it's going to go. But in reality, teams are going to play wherever they think is best for them. Brax is now scouting, right? Germany have their position up to the north. He's now seeing if anybody's wrapping up that north way to give the team that little bit of information. And now the Chinese Taipei down to the south have got everybody back on their feet there on the move. But a trap's been set.
Oh my God.
USA know. They know, they saw it go up into the sky. This is so good from the USA.
Kickstart first up to bat. We're gonna knock it out of the park there. Does some pretty good damage. Mao Rush able to respond with a little bit of his own. Using that bolt, try to see if he can get lucky. Connect on to Kickstart. The first wave for Chinese Taipei has to be diverted, has to go in a different direction. They're being chased down though.
Yeah, it looks like USA were hunting that one down, but we've turned our attention over to Brazil, who are getting pushed by Team UK. It's BL all by himself. Can he stay alive long enough or get enough knocks to tempt the rest of Brazil? They're on their way. BL's done his job. He's dealt a little bit of damage. He's going to get knocked though by Vard, but the rest of Brazil, they are landing in this position. Posa, Sparking, and Santastico. They're looking to take down the team from the UK. Sparking got himself the QBZ, which is, oh look, he switched it over because it's a close range fight.
Yeah, that's really, really smart. The extra rate of fire that you're gonna get out of that Vector, very, very effective in a battle like this. T-Bone actually taking over the IGL duties for UK. Thought I'd take a little bit of a look at it. Doing some long range scouting. That's kind of been the formation that we've been seeing from UK is T-Bone out on his own. The other three going to fight together to try to break things open in the battles. Ming Ming keeps Sparking from being able to be comfortable outside. Gustav dodging some grenades here. It's actually Seoul from Korea. That one splashes right into his face. Doesn't get the knock, but certainly keeps him honest.
Yeah, Gustav just wasting a lot of utility, but they should be able to get it back up as we get an extreme shift to the northwest. And Leo is now back as well, and he's dropped exactly in that position. So he has a spot for Chinese Taipei to rotate to if needs be. Philippines, they've got Raining in their side. Korea with a pretty big split. Now, Raining tried to secure a spot inside the circle while the rest of Korea stayed inside stadium, and Philippines are looking to make them pay for that choice.
This is actually going to be really tricky for Korea. Going this far north is going to be awful, and this is just making matters worse. Raining 1 HP. Immediately goes for that first aid, and now the Philippines know that he is weak, and they are trying to get there. The first aid does come through. China's going to drive right on by this fight. Seoul arriving to the party to try to bail Raining out. Raining just hiding, hoping that he can survive long enough that the rest of Korea is going to be able to do something about this situation. And oh, it's so fast from Algin Bots. He knew there was basically only one place that Raining could be. Seoul just left to watch from afar.
That took a long time though. USA taking advantage of the Indonesia rotate as they pick up a couple of kills of their own. And it looks like Sparking and the rest of Brazil are ready to make their move because T-Bone was dealt with by Australia. And Brazil now know they hold the advantage, they hold the key. Pre-fire there around the corner. Not good enough. Good stun grenade though. Sparking will hear the vault of Vard as he jumps out that window. And Michael with the S12K shotgun makes it work, but Sparking will trade it back. 2 versus 2. Posa caught in the open by Vard, leaving it all down to Sparking. And he's got that Vector, but he has got to make this work. And look, Australia, they know that they can take advantage of this and maybe get revenge on Brazil.
I love this from Australia. This is fantastic decision making. Sparking now has so much to deal with. Dealing more than he takes, but he tries to go back, and Tiggleton's ready for it. Brazil goes down. Australia looking to finish the job. Vard trying to stick the res, but Tiggleton's up on the roof, and Vard has to pull back before he can complete it. Grenade through the window. Vard just hiding. Now, nothing left to do but try to get some extra points to try to salvage this, because Fex is no longer for this lobby.
Yeah, there's the rest of the crash, but oh no! Flood got caught by the gear, by the fence, and it stopped him long enough for Vard to get the knock. Huge for Team UK as the solo player left standing. Still has 3 Aussies to deal with, and they'll look to clean him out. Stun grenade after stun grenade, stopping the res onto Fex. Fex is there to feed the call, to feed the shout. Tig takes damage, but Fex is dealt with by Monty. Tig, though, should deal with this, and in essence here, Paper, the fight that we had in the last map has happened in reverse order here with the team that was, you know, it really is reverse order of the fight the last time around.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just kind of funny how things work out sometimes. You know, teams have similar ideas on, you know, what part of the map they think is important and how they want to rotate and their moments. Back over to the Philippines, who have disengaged from Korea, and now they find Argentina on their doorstep. Poland wants to get a recall through. Dangerous in the middle of that lake, but Matchster wants to go for it. Okay, Vard finally dealt with. It's going to be Tiggleton here. 3 kills for him total. so far for Australia. They will be out in the blue, but we're only in phase 2, so not too big of a deal. And the Philippines want to fight. Surprise!
Yeah, they're pushing up towards Argentina, and Seoul might be able to get a third party. It looks like Korea have got everybody back on their feet as well as they use the recall inside a stadium, and all that is bad news for the Argentinians, because Seoul is here. Vietnam are pushing up this intersection, this junction, as well as you see that little bit of damage. 10-Trip with a great nade up and over the top as Capitan is going to get knocked. Another nade is thrown, finds another 25 damage, but the Argentinians really stuck between a rock and a hard place, and that's a great BZ.
Oh, that's brutal. That's so well placed. That's right on top of Capitan. And 10-Trip is what we got to knock on a Vietnam while this is going on. The man's just a one-man army. He's taking on fights from anybody. A newcomer arrives. It is going to be raining coming back for Korea. They're able to use the recall system once again. Vietnam, though, right on the outside here. Oh, drafting. That sucks. You're just dead there. Vietnam has such a good angle. Now they're really trying to get away. Good news is they ran out of ammo. The bad news is Hemas has a Lynx. I thought he might go for the shot there onto Emmy, but Emmy should be A-okay for now.
You hope so, but Poland are there. They're going to try to be the next team to take shots, but as Emmy moves further north or further west, he'll run to USA, he'll run into Germany. But Poland, they've got Marsalek back on his feet. Looks like they carried enough loot for him as well that he's got himself back in the game with a barrel. And Korea, with all 4 players, they waited for him to get there, and now they will get on the move as well. So Korea really adapting to the recall system very well so far tonight. We'll have a look at what ALO was able to do, and this is probably when they got all those points off of Indonesia. This is going to be good, isn't it?
I would hope so. I need to see some more from the USA. ALO took a bunch of damage. Oh, nasty, nasty, nasty. That is so many headshots there. It's such a tight angle. And then Shrimzy so quick to respond as well. The teamwork so good for the USA. Kick arrives to the party. He just bypasses, doesn't even go for the flushes. Knows there's more. Know they need to take this fight and really wipe Indonesia out.
You know what I love about how things change in PUBG? About 2 years ago, pro players would have used 2Xs and they would have carried 4X sprays. Everyone's gone back to the red dot now, because everybody loves the line. You know, when you aim in, you see everything. There's none of your line of sights being cut off, and players at this level are that good. They don't even need the extra zoom. They can hit a pixel from a mile away. Not the player, by the way. The pixels of the player. He retired.
I know.
I'm so sad.
I am too. He's just a great guy. He's so funny. Definitely gonna miss him at global events for sure. Shout out Pixel if you're watching, buddy. Germany, 1 player out in front. It's Brex up high. The other 3 behind, also up high. Flood going to be called back here as well as 3 more players of Indonesia. So Indonesia trying again late in the game to get their players back up and running. They're going to go way up north. There is some open compounds, so if they're allowed the opportunity to land, they could get some gear again and make a go of it. Chinese Taipei underneath the gun barrels of Germany. High ground advantage doing wonders for them to keep track of their opponents, but they're outside of the new circle. And there's a river right down the middle of a phase 4 circle. This is nasty stuff. Luke 12, though, gonna get beamed by Beamy.
It's a fractured circle, as you pointed out, with that river running through. Flood is on his way to the ground as everybody is firing this way. And it's going to be Gustav as Denmark get 2 members of Australia down and out as things stand. Beamy under pressure now, as up over the hill comes Monty, looking for revenge for his fallen mate, as the rest of Denmark are now looking for the same. But Monty, you should get that point confirmed. Get it on the board as Germany and Chinese Taipei are battling with USA not too far away. It is all getting crazy on the southwest.
Thailand just saved Tiggleton's bacon. Ketter was coming right for him. They knew he was there because he took some shots while Monty was dealing with Beamy. And instead, Thailand comes from behind and takes out Denmark. So they get sandwiched, and that's going to give Australia a little bit of breathing room. Purdy Curdy taking some damage, trying to get down the hill with the rest of his team. Shots ringing out in their direction, but looks like they're at least going to be able to survive. Oh, I died. Spoke too soon. Brex strikes from above. Shrimzy going to be knocked here. Smokes have to come through. You also have China potentially looking into this fight, but they're inside of the circle, so they're not going to make a move, just trying to do some damage from afar. Grenades coming out now for Germany to try to finish that knock onto Shrimpsy, but they're all rolling too far down that hill.
Yeah, and they don't want to go for the res in this position as well. They want Shrimpsy to get closer to the corner, but all these explosions taking health off of Shrimpsy is going to force the issue. And the nade from Mika is perfect as Kurt went for the hero res, and he's going to get shut down. So USA -1 and one more down on his knees and kick. It's going to pick up Kurt, get him out of there. The USA will look to live and fight another day as Alo will hold the cover. Vietnam under pressure from Poland as Kappe will find that knock. This is not looking good for your lobby leaders. Himas went for it, and what the hell? Vietnam delete Poland.
That is just unbelievable. They just run right through Poland like a hot knife through butter. Germany wrapping ahead, but they are paying the price for that. They get out into the open and they get into Lil Ghost's sidelines. It's Chris going to be cleaned up there. USA taking a battle against the Philippines and winning it, at least so far. Breck's going to scoop up a Lynx for himself off of this crate, so they do lose one player, but they're able to get some extra utility for the late game. Oh, what a shot from Brex right into the head of Alo. Well done with that Lynx. USA in the blue, just scrambling to get through, but Zareth is going to be standing there. The rest of Germany in their way. Vietnam trying to get their reses to go on the other side of this in that smoke. Brex curious about it. A grenade here actually could be pretty devastating.
Wrong side of the tree. It lands on the side. He will get the flush, but Brax will deal with kick. And now he turns his attention to Tanvu. Vietnam losing another, and Brax go up to 5 kills in the lobby now. And Mika pushing up on the Philippines. CJ, he's going to get knocked. And let's not look, Emmy's in the blue with a nade in his hand, but he throws it in. It might get Calbs, but it's just a little too far away. And this is brilliant from Germany here, but Zerath has been knocked by Lil Ghost.
Dude, Brex is hitting some nasty shots, looking to do more work. There's another molly. I don't even know if Calbs realizes it yet. All of a sudden, whoa, why is the ground on fire next to me? I'm in trouble, but so is Himas. Calbs actually able to get the knock, even though damage came from a couple different angles there. Tanvu out into the blue, trying to do something. Oh my God, the blue is gonna do it. The grenade had just done enough damage to Calbs.
Yeah, Germany down to 2 as well, as looking off into the distance. Argentina's Emmy still alive inside the placement points, which is not a bad scenario at all when you consider they lost their players oh so long ago. Monty in the sights of Gumin. Salute, come on.
He's got it.
The little Datsy good, but he's going to get shot at by Thailand. And does he get over it? He gets over it. The tire pops, but I think he's gotten over there.
Oh my God, Salute. That is unbelievable that you survived that. What a nice attempt from Rossiter Jr. That is such a creative angle to take there. Thailand has complete control over the northern side of the river. I mean, there is Indonesia up there, but they had just res. They're looking for whatever util and equipment that they can find. Gumin takes a bunch of damage. Tiggleton, though, in response is knocked. Gumin, nice outplay there onto the IGL of Australia. Monty on his own. Just the logs of the shack and a Pico bus for cover. And Korea needs some kills in this one. They only have one. They're looking for more.
And have a look at Rossadid. He's crossed the river. He's sneaking up. He wants to get involved. He wants points for Thailand as Korea push on up. But on the other side of things, Germany's there. Seoul, you're taking 5 damage every second you stay inside the blue. And I think that Germany know it. They know he's weak, but Yumin will get the knock on Mika, and Korea fighting on multiple fronts and winning all the battles, but Braxco will take down Seoul.
Oh, finally dealt with. What a reposition there by Gumin to back up Seoul on the backside. He should be able to grab him, get him into the next zone, and try to go for the res. China has other ideas. They have flanked out wide to try to cut off Korea's advance. They know that they're still 4 up potentially, and they want to make sure that that doesn't exist into this late game. Not much to work with here. It is a coastline, some high hills. Thailand, though, so smart to get ahead of the curve here. They can leave 2 players on the backside as well to watch for Indonesia. I'm pretty sure they know they're there. They probably saw them parachuting in. Out in the open, though, Korean players. Juicy targets for Lil Ghost. Connects onto that, onto Raining, and he should be down and out.
Yeah, really good from Lil Ghost as he takes advantage and picks up that kill. So that's 1 player down for Korea. and it makes it a 3v4, v3, v3. Korea being held by China, but China have got to get a move on as well because Zhao Wood is holding the circle. Everyone else in the blue, and Salute is coming this way. They're going for a little ghost. It's aggression from Korea, and I absolutely love it. Run him over, Soul gets the knock, and Ming Ming will fall as well. Korea get revenge, and Zhao Wood, who's usually the first to fall, is now the last standing for China.
Fortune favors the bold in Korea. That is a bold move right there. Driving uphill at China to take them out. They were not happy that they lost reigning there, and they wanted to return the favor. It's not all over yet. Xiao Wu, the hero for China during PGS, has an opportunity to do something special once again on his own, but he's got Indonesia right underneath the hill near him, aware of each other's presence as Util is coming out on both sides. Oh, Trick finds the off angle, and Xiao Wu is down.
Indonesia climbing into 10th spot now, and Thailand are going to do the exact same rotate we saw.
They didn't do it right.
Nah.
They missed it.
They're fine. They've got 4 players up and they got a spot in the circle. But would you put it past Korea now after dealing with China on the south? Well, of taking full control of the circle and pulling a rabbit out of the hat with a win here.
They can do it. They need Indonesia to kind of do some damage, I think, to Thailand. Maybe not necessarily, but you would love to see that. That's for sure. You would love to see those two teams over on that eastern edge just beat each other up so you can come through, claim what you think is going to be the winning position, claim what you think is going to be the winning terrain, and use that to your advantage. And they know that eventually it's going to have to leave that river, right? So they're going to go on that western edge. They're going to take the hillside, use that for cover, get some high ground, get some angles, get some info, and set up for the late game.
Yeah, Indonesia, Setsuna turning his attention over towards Korea as Thailand all group on that south side where they believe the next phase shift is going to go. Simoy hunting that way though as he's going to make the crossing through the water, and I don't think Thailand are looking the way, and just by Indonesia firing shots across, it enables the Simoy crossing. So this is really good team play, and Korea, they want to push Indonesia, but they also know the position they have in the circle is really good as things stand, so they're not going to make the move just yet. But Paper, that circle shift is not what anybody was banking on.
That is wild. That is going to guarantee to have water in it, I think, in the last phase. At least the phase 8 circle should be touching some. That is crazy. This is a bizarre circle. You rarely see them like this next to a river. So this is a special one in terms of just rarity. You know, that we won the PUBG gacha for this game. We got a fantastic circle. Gyumin gonna be the one tasked with keeping track of Indonesia up on the north side. Meanwhile, Seoul and Salute have a inenviable task of watching Thailand on the other. But Simoy has gotten right underneath Thailand. What in the world is he gonna do?
Yeah, remember the crossing he made a long time ago, but that nade does enough damage to find a knock, but not between the damage with the 2 players, but will not find a knock onto any. Gyumin, though, he let Indonesia know that he's within throwable distance, and here come Salute and the rest of the reinforcements. They know that Indonesia have only got so many limited spots to rotate from this spot, and when all this is going on, and all the explosions, Thailand are wrapping all the way in behind on the south.
This is actually kind of turning into a problem for Korea. They need this fight to go smoothly and quickly, and Indonesia knows that they're in a bad spot, an easily nadeable spot, so they're going to try to rotate. They're actually going to see Thailand. If they take shots, that's going to alert Korea to Thailand's presence, that they're making this wide wrap.
Let them go. Let Thailand wrap around.
Smart.
It's the right thing to do because you know that they're going to backfill Korea, and this is just trigger discipline at its finest. And I love that decision because any other player might consider the fight, and here we go. The angle's been opened up by Thailand. Korea inside a bowl, and this could become a shooting gallery. Setsuna, don't shoot. Don't. Thailand, they're doing you a favor. Once Korea start fighting back to Thailand, maybe then start doing some damage. But for now, they are your allies.
Korea there, Gyumin right at the tree, taking a bunch of damage from a grenade. Simoy, it's his time to strike. And he gets a bunch of damage with the AK, but can't find the knock. Instead, Setsuna combines with him, calling out the targets nicely, saying, I've got this one lit up. It's your turn up to bat. Setsuna had been such a good support player for Indonesia during the survival stage. And this time it's Simoy setting up Setsuna. Now, around the corner is Korea. They're keeping it quiet for now. Tons of smokes had to be used here by Thailand, and they are now being pushed in by the blue. This is going to get trickier and trickier as time goes on. They may have just been a little too cautious in trying to take that fight against Korea, but they didn't know where Indonesia was.
And look how steep the hill they need to descend is as well. It's all going to impact them as Korea still with 3 up. That circle, you said it had to keep water in it. About 30% of it is still the river. Setsuna turns his attention up, but Thailand are back up to a 4. They got the res right in the smoke on the edge of the blue, and now they can turn their attention back this way. Saluto will get the knock on to Kiss. Simoy finds Saluto, Gubin on the Jacob. Everybody firing onto everybody, Paper. It's a 2v3.
This is madness. Simoy with that AK, able to do a ton of damage again, but Rossiter Jr. strikes from the side. Coming up and over is Trick, trying to do some damage onto Rossiter. Rossiter has such a tough angle in this fight. Trick trying to find one of his own. That hill is so steep, neither player can really get a good angle onto the other. But this is mutually assured destruction. Korea now trying to fan out. Seoul out on the edge. Prone's down. It is going to be Thailand that falls in third.
Yeah, and Seoul now the pressure from Trick, and Seoul's going to get taken down by the blue zone. And it's a 2 versus 2 for the win. Indonesia, who battled their way from last place last year through the survival stage, are going head-to-head with the champions. 2 teams on opposite sides of the spectrum at the end of the year, or at the end of PNC last year, will battle. I don't think Trick has got a really good spot here at all. Setsuna needs to help it out. It's essentially 2 1v1s for Korea as they have bunched themselves up in a 2, but they got to be careful because we know Indonesia are no joke, and they could easily turn this fight into their favor.
The thing you have going for you is Korea's Trick just didn't have any more first aids. He only has a couple bandages, so he's at the edge. He's trying to peek out around. He's exposed. Yumi found Setsuna, and it's going to be Korea finding a chicken dinner. Smiles on the faces of Team Korea. What a wild game that was. What a final circle.
Yeah, and they really closed the gap to Vietnam at the top, and you can't win a tournament on day 1, but you can put yourself in the hunt, and Korea, they are on the hunt indeed. What a game that was for them, Paper, and for the fans. They had to win 4 maps, but they finally got it over the line with a win.
Yeah, you just kind of wonder after those first 2, is it just going to be all Vietnam all day, and is Korea just going to kind of be playing second fiddle? But no, they find their own moment. But guys, we're going to watch some highlights. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with some Erangel. Don't go anywhere.
They fall. The overlords of what's going on, and if they can spot out Adam, like, Philippines hold the key into this circle for both of these sides. Look at the 3 players stacked up now. Adam is going to get knocked by Tentrip, and this could not be going better for Team UK. They're trying to steal the kills away. Tentrip with another one. Vex gets the last one, and Canada fall. Team, they assumed that this position was clear. Trick was there. Elsewhere though, Turkey, they're going to run into Chinese Taipei as a quick triple knock will come through. Savior, who we heard from at the start of the game, is holding
Hello,
the
Rolex.
and that weapon.
No, not like this. Don't do Cappy like this. Don't do him like this. Hey! Oh, what a shot, Trick. No, not like this, Poland.
देख रहे हो क्या मैचेस?
Come on, man.
इस मैच पे कोड मिलेगा अभी नेक्स्ट मैच पे.
Switching between sites, wants to find the best one for this moment. Red dot seems good to me. And over, AT headshot found. AT has to prone down, needs some help from Intens. Intens right behind him there. Oh, he goes for it, he's got it! Woohoo! The double kill!
Small dick Koreans.
To sit is to progress. Sit is.
ये भी डांस भी मिलेगा मेरे को.
김한결이라고 합니다. 어릴 때부터 자전거 타는 걸 진짜 좋아해서 지금은 본격적으로 선수 생활을 하고 있어요. 처음 경기장에서 BMX 레이싱 선수들의 경기를 보고 와 진짜 멋있다라는 생각이 들어서 본격적으로 시작하게 된 것 같아요.
कोड मतलब इधर मैच पे कोड दिखाएगा और रिडीम करने में 2000 G कॉइन मिलेगा.
내가 과연 유망주인가? 책임감 있게 행동해야겠다라는 생각도 들어요. 가장 큰
पक्का
원동력은
मतलब कंफर्म नहीं है, रैंडमली मिलेगा ऐसा.
저에게 스포츠는 도전이에요. 넘어져도 다시
मिल गया था. अच्छा है, कल तो नहीं मिला मेरे को.
아닌 새로운 시작이 기다리고 있어요.
Drop that shit.
ईगल्टन का टीम 12th प्लेस पे है. चाइना 7, वियतनाम नंबर 1, कोरिया. डिफरेंस देखो, 20 पॉइंट है, मतलब 20 किल थर्ड और सेकंड का. कोरिया ऐसा खेल रहा है ना, ये देख NG कॉइंस. अभी मैच 5 में आएगा अभी. फर्स्ट किल के बाद आएगा. और टॉप 4 टीम्स रिमेनिंग इन 5th मैच. टॉप 4 पे एक कोड आएगा और फर्स्ट किल पे एक आएगा. ठीक है टोटल 5000 G coins
혹시 모델업팅 좀
क्या इंडिया इंडिया नहीं है घर गया इंडिया खाली
Smooth and original. Straight from the underground.
Welcome back, everyone, to PNC 2025.
कोरिया का
2
टीम है
games
ये
left to go on day one. It is Gibson joined by Paper to bring you through the final 2 games. And well, Paper, the
कोई नहीं गया भाई देखो खाली है स्टेडियम पूरा खाली है थोड़ा ही लोग गया वो भी फैमिली मेंबर्स होगा
It shouldn't be too surprising at this point with back-to-back wins, but look at this. The man of the match is going to be the IGL for Team Korea. Gyu-min with 4 kills, 4 knocks, a ton of damage. But that game looked like it might not go so well in the beginning for Korea. They're on the bad side of the circle initially. They lose Raining, but then they go. They opt for that res. They get Raining back into the equation, and they play it really slow. They had 0 kills for so long in that game. They were just waiting for their moment.
Yeah, they waited, but when the moment arose, they struck. Remember, they had to get the res as well. They recalled 2 players. They stayed inside the stadium. Sol had the opportunity to get involved in multiple gunfights, but he just held his own and waited. And let's have a look at the leaderboard for that game. So 18 points, the lowest by any winner of a map today so far. But they've put in so much good work over the course of today already that they're going to be right up there with Vietnam, who have slowed down significantly since we left Myanmar.
Yeah, just a bit, eh? It is kind of weird how that works sometimes. You just have such a good read on one of the maps that you just feel so comfortable, and then you go to the other ones and you can't quite maintain that form. So for Korea, they've been pretty steady throughout, and then they finally get through and get that win. But where, oh where, are they going to fall on the total leaderboard after that one? They are up to second. They are 1 point behind Vietnam. They have closed the gap. They are out fragging Vietnam even now just by 1.
वियतनाम जीतना है कोरिया मत नहीं जीतना है इस बार
So crazy stuff going on. Love to see Denmark in third, continuing to have really just solid overall performances. Germany playing well into that 4th place spot with 32. Brazil right in the hunt with 31.
The crazy thing is, with over 100 points between the top 2 teams, it's condensed the rest of the leaderboard so much. Like, you look at this, a 20-point win for Argentina puts them right up into 4th place from being right down at the bottom. And it just goes to show how much of an impact 2 teams can have in an entire lobby. But we're changing the positioning. We're going to Erangel now. The map is very different. These teams could probably drive all the way from Zarki to Millie Island with their eyes closed at this point. So I'll be curious to see which team is able to take advantage of the map change.
Yeah, really interested about, you know, who's going to have a good read on Erangel, who's got a good read on the lobby now that we've seen some few games, how teams are going to play, how they can approach those fights. Of course, you know, Korea, you wouldn't expect them to do too much differently in terms of where they're going to end up on the leaderboard throughout the day. You know, I think we had some good predictions early on with who we thought was going to be strong today. You know, we both got the teams that got at least 1 win. So looking pretty good as we get ready for Erangel. The grassy pastures are ahead. Our final 2 maps of the first day here of the final stage. Let's get it going.
Here's hoping the first day of the grand finals doesn't give us as crazy a circle as the first day of the Survivor Series did. We obviously had that Millie
ओपन
Island
क्यों नहीं हो रहा है ये
split, which led to absolute chaos as we fly over prison here. And I'm going to be honest, we don't see the finishes here all that often either, but I love this part of the map. I love it when a team drops there, and I love it when a team or 2 are like, yeah, we're gonna take the ridge line and peek down in there and try it out.
I love endings near the prison, as long as they don't go south of the prison too far, because there's that like really flat open area just to the south of it, but fighting around the edges of the prison, super fun. I agree. We'll see where the circle's going to take us. Korea should be Razak in their drop spot, that is the Freaks. drop spot, so that's where I'm anticipating that they're going to be getting out of the plane. The real question to me right now is Pachinki, who's going to fight over it? I see both the Philippines and Australia angling in that direction.
Yeah, Tig told me that Australia were going to take Pachinki, and I was like, oh, really? You got Pachinki? He was like, yeah, well, like, I'm Tig. It's like, okay, you go for it, but I like this. Philippines, happy to hot drop. They obviously dropped with the USA earlier, and they essentially won that drop. Now they're going to try do it again here in Pachinki. But let's be real.
Oh, Monty's so close, dude. Okay, he's backing off. I was like, if you go into that house, you're playing with fire.
I'm curious, right? Because, again, I always look to see who the aggressor is, and it looks to me like once more, Philippines have taken the more aggressive drop. They've taken more space. They've surrounded Australia on all sides. Let's see if it's going to be different opponents, but same results.
Oh, what an angle there found by Flood. Trip was completely distracted. Calbs trying to keep Flood honest. Algenbots did find a machine gun. Tiggleton has a Bison.
He steps on up and he'll hip fire that point away, and here comes Algenbots.
PNC first kill.
Reload. He's running in there with a Tommy gun, and it's not been reloaded. Flood hears that Algenbots, though, he reloads right on time. And Flood, though, they're going to trade that one back as the Micro Uzi with only 12 rounds remaining of 9mm. Flood, you got to pick those bullets up, but this is not going the way that the Philippines would have liked. And well, if you give a team an opportunity like Vietnam, of course they're going to third party. They have pulled up on the northwest side of Pachinki as well.
Of course, it's Delwyn. It just is so fun to watch this guy play. I love this idea. Monty, Rez should be available. CJ, is he going to have any idea? I don't think he's going to have any clue that you have a player that close to him. Calb's trying to keep track of the other players. Yep, CJ. Uh-oh, look who else it is.
And I'm thinking, if I'm Australia here, do I want to stay and fight? Or do I use the push by Vietnam as an opportunity to get out of Pachinki now and to focus on rotating into the zone because you're not in that position? The thing is, though, it is Australia. I've spoken to Tiggle, and he's obviously confident as well. He can take any fight. But yeah, it looks like they are retreating back towards the other side of Pachinki. Whether that's to find more loot and get better equipped for the fight with Vietnam, or whether that's just to leave and reposition yourself, we'll find out pretty quickly.
Yeah, there should be some vehicle spawns down on that southern side for them to maybe use as an escape valve if they need to. Brazil on the move early. I do see Michael fanned out pretty wide for the UK. Not too far, not too close. He's got a vehicle he's peeling off, so don't anticipate that there's going to be any fighting here early. But a lot of teams going to want to get center. They're going to know that this plane path and with the drops that not many teams are going to be there early to that center. So if they can be ahead of the curve a bit, they could find themselves in a nice spot as the game draws on. Argentina going to be hot to get towards that central area, using the heaven area to themselves, or as we call it in Korea, the Sky Garden. And then Germany over in Lipovka does have a red zone on top of them, but I think they weren't going too far. Anyway, Vietnam, they have pulled back out of Pachinki as well. So the thing now you have to consider as Australia is, do you really want to barrel down on top of this fight and make sure that the reses can't come through for the Philippines? Yes, you do. That is really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I think they heard the Vietnam retreat out of Pachinki as well, and they says, okay, we can go back in and get that extra point. And that's just good game sense as well. As we look, Tiggle's on a 5, or sorry, look 12, and Tiggle, their streaks here at PNC, but I want to say this about the stat that we had a little earlier. We had Vietnam up on our screens. They've obviously got a tough spot, right? Move they took this year, like last year, having spoken to some people from the region who are fans, they felt like they had too many fraggers, too many like players who want to play as the tip of the spear. So obviously Clarice is one that fits that style, so they've gone with a little different lineup. I think they've got a lot more balance this year than they had last year.
Yeah, I mean, Salalzi's more of a glue guy. He's more of a support type player in terms of, how PUBG functions. So that, it makes sense to me. I mean, you can actually have this be a problem with PNC teams, is if you just put 4 stellar fraggers on your squad, that sure, you're going to get points, you're going to get kills, but then they end up like competing with each other for those kills, and they're not thinking about getting the win necessarily. They're thinking about outdoing each other. So that can be a bit of a concern. Norway's 8C going to have Brazil rolling in behind him, so he has to abandon his post T-Bone up in the air, getting some valuable scouting done for Team UK as he has taken over the IGL reins and doing a phenomenal job so far. UK in general, just steady as she goes. Only 14 points here in the final stage, but had a phenomenal survival stage, and I don't feel like you can hold that team down for too long. Them, Australia, USA, all really close to each other, so a lot of competition there amongst some of the English-speaking countries as they want to outdo each other.
Day one of survival stage didn't even go that great for Team UK. Remember, they needed a really good day two to solidify their spot. So this is not a position that's strange to them here this week here at PNC. So let's hope they can find the form a little bit earlier than they did yesterday, where it took all the way to map 4 for them to really get together. But Brazil, they have got Norway in their sights, but Norway ain't going to back off and fight. The M249 gets one, James gets the second, and Brazil, well, Brazil thought they had some 3 points on Norway, but it just doesn't work that way as James and Itzy combine, and Brazil 2 players down. The question is now, how much do they value the points that getting these kills could make? And do they want to go for those reses? And Norway are doing the right thing. Clean up the kills and make sure that there's no other Brazil players around either.
And that's brutal. Look at that sparking at a Groza, which means they had found some level 3 gear already, and you're going to lose it so early on. That's so painful there. Not only losing players, James though, oh, Vex drove a little too close to the sun, and James burns him. Vard is like, okay, never mind. This is not the fight we wanted. We are just going to have to retreat and live to fight another day. Great start to this game for Norway.
Yeah, James and Vex know each other pretty well, right? He's going to get the chip, though. He'll get the chip and he'll get the Groza.
Okay.
So it's not, you know, you get it, you fall back. You've got the opportunity to bring him back a little bit later, and then later on in the game, you could go get the other chip as well. But yeah, Vex and James, they've fought, you know, they know each other pretty well, right?
Just a bit. They may have played together at some point. I don't know.
That's the Western thing, though, that doesn't really, you know, that we get at this event. So many of the teams that speak English, you'll have teams playing on different teams at this event that are normally teammates, and I love seeing that little dynamic as well.
Oh, I do too. It is one of the most fun things about this event, getting some of that cross-team rivalry going. As Norway, it looks so good, and then James just kind of overextended there and then paid the price. It's going to be a point going over to the UK, so they're able to get their revenge. And Norway not in a position to get that blue chip, so there is the potential there for the UK, maybe later as this game goes on, to get a res of their own, get Vex back into the fold, as that fight seems to have calmed down for now. But look who it is, Chinese Taipei, not too far away, looking to see if there was any points available for themselves, but I think they may have just been a little bit too late. We'll see, though. I don't know if the UK knows they're there.
Yeah, Chinese Taipei have been looking to backfill in third party a bit more today than they had done over the previous 2 days. And that might distract the UK enough that it opens up the window for Brazil to potentially get those 2 blue chips ready and get back a couple of players back in the fight. You look, there are a couple of buybacks available to them. We'll jump over, though, to the POV of Team USA, who are just in South George. They'll look to make their win. It really does look like USA have just taken the liquid drops, because with Kurt in there. And I think it makes sense whenever your IGL is playing in that position. They want to do what they're most comfortable with. And I think Kick and Shrimsy are good enough players, and they've been around long enough that they can adapt to that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and I mean, you know, they've had Kurt as an IGL before at other PNCs, so they're going to be pretty familiar with his game plan. I thought Michael was going to go back into Milta to go for the res there for a second, but he's actually just driving around in between Milta and Milta Power, so he's taking a pit stop. And if he goes to Milta Power, he's going to find out the hard way that there's still a team hanging out there. That might be a real bad situation that the UK is about to find themselves in. Oh my God, east, hard east, over towards the mansion. Lipovka's still going to be in prison in that circle. A couple teams now going to have to try to find their way in, and Michael, yeah, he just found out, oh wait, there's still players down here? I thought this was going to be wide open.
He's driving towards the power plant now. Does he have the chip? That's the question that I have. It looks like it as he's going to that position. If I'm Indonesia, I'm pushing that. If you know Michael's there, now the rest of the UK are going to provide some backup, but it's worth keeping an eye on. Norway, though, their players are crashing in on Argentina by Mansion. Argentina have not quite had the day that they would want to have so far, sitting in 14th place, but neither has Norway. China pulling up behind Korea as well, right behind these fights as all these teams are starting to just get really close together, finding some bit of terrain, either a compound, a rock, a hillside, something in the circle that they can play out of.
Salute's got to be super careful here. He is on an island as far as the rest of his teammates go. They have all fallen back, and he's going to see China out there. Oh, they see him. He's in trouble there out in the open. He's got to run, and he can't. Quick reactions. Great identification there by China. They're looking to finish the job. They know that they have a free point available, so they let loose with a barrage. And yeah, Salute is down and out.
Based on that roar, it sounds like there's quite a few Chinese fans in the venue here today as well. Michael did die, by the way, inside multiplayer as he went for that recall, so whether or not he successfully pulled it off, we're yet to find. But USA on their way to Lipovka, 2 members for Team UK in position, but the 4 members of USA having taken some damage, they know this position is not free. But the question you gotta ask is, did they look at the map? Did they see the recall beep? And do they know that it is Team UK in this position as Fex comes back?
It's just looking, Beamy just got a knock from like 500 meters away onto Germany. I was like, where in the world is Denmark in relation to them? Crazy good stuff from him. But yeah, this battle, oh so important. And now Indonesia wants to say hi. They're going to bring all 4 players into the warehouses. It's a little bit tough usually to fight out of those warehouses compared to the rest because of the 3-story building that Fex is right next to. But he doesn't have any weaponry. So if Indonesia makes a quick move, they might be able to punish. But Bard on top of things, great stuff from him to get that knock. That's such a pivotal point that they're going to take. And that's going to open the door there for Fex to at least get in and get some stuff to maybe get into the fight. Australia coming up the southern road. Nobody really near them, so they can take their time here a bit. They can do some scouting and then try to make their way into the next circle. Unlikely to hard shift down to the south. You never know with how circles like to work, but well, this looks like that res you were talking about earlier. Finally, Brazil finds their opportunity, maybe?
Yeah, they waited for to get a spot inside the circle, and they waited until they were 100% sure it was back both Posa and Sparking, but I'm not sure. They definitely have one. Hopefully, they've got both of those ones, and they can get everybody back and alive and inside the fight. And the good news for Brazil, there's so much real estate free in that circle. And Denmark are going to call and pick up just in case this goes to the extremity. And Ketter, is this a bait? Because Ketter's driving off and they've called in that. Well, they look at the circle, they don't need it.
మంచి పొజిషన్ వదులుకుంటున్నారు డెన్మార్క్.
It's just such a nice situation that Denmark's going to find themselves in, and they're a step ahead of Thailand. They were both angling at the same compound. Vard did find Alo, so he's starting to heat up, starting to find some value. There you go. That's that spot I was talking about. Denmark just a little bit quicker to the punch, and that's been something they've been really good at today here. You talked about it earlier, those fast rotations that they're making, putting themselves just a little bit ahead of their opponents who are thinking similar things, and they are profiting from it.
This is the thing about this compound too is usually you'll see a team pick one side because all the teams from the south will push up to the garage, or the teams from the north will push towards Gustav. So how long they hold this split is going to be curious to keep an eye on. Team UK, they're going to lose one to Kurt as he picks up Fex, and T-Bone is the last player standing for the US as Kurt will pick up another point for them. But for T-Bone, you've got to be careful on all sides because Indonesia are here as well. But I think Indonesia would do well to use this fight as their opportunity to leapfrog both of these teams inside the circle. The question is, will they run directly into Germany or Australia on their way to doing so?
Yeah, I agree with you. This is, the wiser decision, I would say. Meanwhile, the USA wants to really finish that fight if possible. You see a lot of teams, Australia using all that chaos in Lipovka to just drive right past and backfill into the high ground where Denmark was earlier. T-Bone just going to hide. He just doesn't have any other options at this point. And the USA, they're still kind of looking around, but I think this might be them just starting to decide that, okay, well, we did what we could. We got some points. Maybe now is the better time to just leave. We know that Indonesia left. We heard those vehicles. And it's just a matter of how much they want to commit to eliminating T-Bone. Meanwhile, Brazil did get both players back. Something to note there. They're in the prison. There is a red zone on top of them. That's not the best, but they are at least back up to 4.
Yeah, and then phase 3, it doesn't hurt that much either that they're not in the world of pain in that position. So they'll just keep on looting, get some meds, get boosted up, and Santa will pick them up at the entrance to prison as they make their way inside the circle. Doffy, though, he's got his eyes on Indonesia as he gets the knock onto Simoy, and Beamy will look to find the flush from afar through that smoke. And at some point, you'd imagine maybe the likes of a Thailand might be tempted to push this way. But for Indonesia, they've kept Trick a little bit closer to the center of the circle, and these two will play as a two. Vietnam, they've got position up on the north, but yeah, I think USA, you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face. That extra point on the T-Bone, if you can find it's not worth it. And if T-Bone stays long enough and meds enough, and he realizes USA is gone, there is a recall, and he could potentially bring UK back. Now, whether or not they can get any loot off the back of it is another question, but there's an option.
Oh, the clown car there for the USA. Dangerous stuff, but they gotta make this rotation. They gotta get into this next circle somehow, some way. Trick ahead for Indonesia. Just gonna get on the other side of this hill. Tire broken here. Just gonna be a little bit careful with the driving on the US. They might just dive right into Indonesia. Grenade to the ready, not even gonna be able to be used. Is that gonna do any damage to the USA though? It was in the hand, was it? Already primed. Curdy gonna go down. He tried to push into the shack and there were a couple of Indonesian players waiting for him. They're just gonna opt for the double blue zones. Indonesia got a heal off, but I don't know how much longer they are for this lobby. Simoy down. Teddy gets another first aid just in time.
I'd have liked to have seen the blue zone nades before Kurt made the push and the dive inside the shack. I know they wanted to save their utility, but you lost. You know, Kick's going to get the down on the A-low, but he'll be able to get him back up. But you lost Kurt, and that's invited the pressure. And of course Australia want to take the fight. Tiggleton would love to wipe them out, but it's going to be Luke and Monty instead. And Kiss will hit Tiggleton right in the mouth as he gets the knock and flush onto one of the best players in the world as well, as the new kid in the block continues to impress. And Posa just jumped out of his car too early. Don't worry, folks. He's not done anything else. It's going to be crazy. Brazil are still fine.
Just tough situation there for Australia. Needed those points, went for the play, lost a couple players to Thailand. Now they're going to have to rethink how they're going to approach this situation. Norway dug in. Argentina trying to... What in the world just hit Emmy? He is not happy about that. Down to 21 HP. A good grenade there from Norway. Does some damage. Going to continue this push through the smoke. Just want to put that Panzer to good use as quickly as possible. Yeah, there you go. That's easy money. Even though Emmy knocks himself, that's exactly what you want. Iman trying to do what he can, but not any further other than claiming one.
Yeah, Raibo will be able to get some level 3 gear off his fallen teammate, but Argentina will wipe the Norwegians. Chinese Taipei losing 2 players before they hit the ground, and maybe they're going to lose the last one. And that is what goes wrong when you pick up on Chinese Taipei are done and dusted. Germany going for the crash now onto Denmark, who have a bit of a split, and Beamy's going to click empty. And Germany arrive, but Beamy gets a second opportunity. He'll find the knock. Doffy is down, and it's all down to Braxco now as he's the only player left standing. And if I'm someone else, maybe this is worth pushing. But Germany, they're going to get eliminated at the hands of Denmark. And Denmark now need to get the res. And yeah, look, Marsalek. What? Marsalek? Did he miss time his C4?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really catch it in time to fully piece together what was going through Marsalek's mind. Whatever. You know, Marsalek, he's gonna give you some amazing plays, and sometimes he leaves you scratching your head a bit. Korea, again, did lose Sulut early, no opportunity to claim that res. China still out there in the Mansion Forest. Argentina starting to swoop in. We're gonna see Little Ghost in front. Spray not good enough. Ming Ming able to respond before Capitan can do much more. There it is.
If at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again, as this time it's a bit more successful for Poland. And now Gustav will rush across the road to get the res. Brazil, all 4 players up against all odds, and they are now inside the circle as well. But Vietnam are entrenched in the center of the circle, and here come China. They know that Denmark are weak. Gustav, he gets one. Can he get a second? The spray is okay. It's not great, but he's going to throw the pre-nade. The nade will probably dead man's hand, and no, it won't. But look, Martin looks a little bit annoyed, a little bit disappointed about that one, realizes he's on camera, and then he smiles.
Hey, I gotta say, I thought Denmark played this game pretty well, given some bad situations. They're once again falling to a C4 at the hands of an opponent. I mean, they just have the C4 magnet this time around. So Poland, though, Cappy out in the open, has Rybox behind him. Gonna be creeping up just a wee bit, looking to get the surprise. He has a few more first aids, so can afford to take his time for just a little bit longer. And if he can catch Cappy off guard, he'll find a good moment. Cappy there able to find the headshot, but not the knock, and that's when Rybox strikes and he gets the knock. Meanwhile, Brazil over on the other side has Thailand above them. You got Vietnam looking at you from their compound. That's a really difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, Marcelic mistimed it. I knew this was what happened. What does he do wrong, though? Right, it's 15 seconds.
Did he get stuck? He got stuck.
Oh, no.
He got stuck.
Right, it's not Marcelic's fault. That's not Marcelic. And he just said, you know what? He said, I'm going for it. He gave it a go. Oh. Live by the meme, die by the meme, I guess.
I love it. I love it. It's just the most Marcelek thing to happen. All right, Thailand still has a couple players here as they are hunkered down behind this hill, looking to get some heals through. 3 up, Jacob down. They should be A-okay. Brazil seems to have found some stability. Vietnam content to just contain themselves inside of this compound. Got some points delivered to them by Chinese Taipei. And since then, they have been unfettered, unbothered, and they could find themselves winning a 3rd game here today. Who knows? See what the circle wants to do. It's going to keep that compound in it. One way or another, it was going to be in this next circle. China trying to maneuver their way around the outside. Flood for Australia still alive. 3 for Korea. So a lot could change here, but Vietnam is just going to play kingmaker around their position.
2-2 split as well inside the compound. There's no fear of the rest of the lobby as Little Ghost will deal with Flood. And now China can get on the move. Oh, Sparking will catch out Seoul, who got a little bit too busy creeping inside the circle. And now Rating's going to fall. Brazil putting Korea to the sword as they look to make it. Now Yumin should be able to get this res off because the blue zone is not going to start closing until 20 seconds time. So Korea should still have 2 players up. But while all that was going on, Thailand's Fluky will get a knock onto BL. And that's given Brazil something to think about as well, as all these teams, they want to deal with each other before they focus on pushing Vietnam.
Korea's in a really tough spot right now. China is really keen on making sure they don't get too much further in this game if they can help it. But there's a hillside at least affording some level of safety to Gyumi temporarily. But look what he has in front of him, not much. It is wide open space as that hillside goes down, opens itself up to a couple different angles. Brazil hanging on. Rez is there. BL back on his feet. Posa, nope. Oh God, Gyumi, that was quick. That was some nice shooting. Him and Raining are gonna combine and they're gonna take the point.
Yeah, and that point will get them a little bit closer to Vietnam, but Vietnam are surely going to extend that lead at the top. Also, I want to say, you've been working with the Irish too often. I've heard you say "we" quite a few times.
I know, you guys, I can't escape you.
Yeah, you work with us a little bit too much as Kiss will wrap around the blue. The blue becoming a problem now, but that headshot, as good as Salolzi now gets involved on Raining, and Vietnam will pick up what is a big 2-point kill for them in the early stages of these PNC Grand Finals. And Brazil with a 3. They're in every bit of bad situation as what Korea find themselves in.
I agree. You know, they're trying to get whatever kills they can, so that's why a lot of their attention being paid towards Human. They know he's alone. They know that he is the juiciest target. And you know, Human trying to do a little peek shooting, but yeah, that don't feel good. That SLR from Sparking hurts. And BL as well, just looking to see if he can get the angle. So Gyumi gets tagged again. And this is not fun. This is not good for Gyumi.
Yeah, he's got no first aid aids left after that one as well. He takes another bit of damage, and at this point, you met up. You maybe spread into the blue with your jammer pack and try to get a knock onto Brazil that should get flushed by the blue zone. But for Korea, it's not looking great at all. The blue zone is going to stop at his feet, but instead of going into the blue and trying to get the kill, he's going to hope maybe he can outlive another team. Maybe there's another placement point or 2 up for grabs. Okay, that shift has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, because that's good for Thailand, and it ain't bad for China either, as long as China can find something to play.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough. You can see now they're throwing out the emergency cover. They need to get to this hillside so they can get away from the sight lines. That's going to be Aix left taking on Gumin. But they need to get away from the sight lines of Vietnam, from these compounds. So they need to somehow find a way to get to the hillside. The problem is that they might have Thailand to contest with over there as well. So Vietnam, again, kind of hunker down, just do what damage they can. If they can keep Brazil from breaching this compound, they should be A-okay going into this late game. They know there's a player behind that rock, but do they know Sparking has gotten as close as he has?
They have to know. They've gotta know. It's the only place that Brazil could make a play for in the late game, and they're still not inside the circle yet. But Korea are backing Brazil right now. They want Brazil to find a knock in this fight. So did Thailand and China. Everybody will want Brazil to get the opening knock onto Vietnam, because it opens up the door just a little bit in this map to find a chicken dinner for these sides. China did, of course, find a foothold inside the circle. It looks like Thailand themselves are up on the north. They're in no panic, no rush whatsoever to get into the circle either. But with 27 minutes gone in this game and phase 7 closing quick onto the back of Brazil, still got to make something happen, but it's Tanvu that finds that first knock.
Yeah, this is so difficult now, although that knock helps. BL able to put Delwyn on the floor, at least temporarily. They need to breach this compound because they can't go
Thailand
to their right. Oh my God, there's no way. There's no way. If this works, it's gonna gain a little bit of speed. Kiss is gonna send it right towards them. In the meantime, Sparking tries to breach. Oh no, it gets stopped. No. It gets stopped. It's not gonna get close enough. I hate to break it to you folks, that ain't gonna get there.
And the roar from the crowd when they realized what was happening. They thought that somebody was gonna make a move, but Rossiter Jr. will get the knock onto Himas. Sololzi will deal with Sparking. BL is down as well. There's just one Brazilian left inside the fight, and make that none. Santa will go down to the blue. Vietnam back to 3 players standing, and I don't know if they'll be back to 4. They'll certainly try. Yeah, they've got all 4 players, I believe, back on their feet. This one could be really, really good.
It was so close. It was so well thought out, knowing that they used that back window to escape. And here goes Thailand. They're pushing forward. Rossiter Jr., a little bit of blue bag to use that he can escape the damage from that. Himas is actually going to succumb to the blue. Tanvu trying to figure out what the hell's going on, looking for those Thai players. Fluky doing his best to suss out where Vietnam has gone. This has gotten mega chaotic, and this is all in China's favor now.
Yeah, China loving life. Rossiter and Fluky, down go Delwyn, and Himas as Vietnam are going to start losing players. Sololzi, though, he's going to backstab. He gets 2 more points for the side. Vietnam now make it to 10 kills, but Kiss will see them out. And in Vietnam, with just 1 player left, and Tanvu, it's just ring around the rosy as fall after fall after fall. Vietnam rushing for the res. China, they're worried that there could be the potential that maybe Vietnam will try to deny to the blue, so they're going to push and try to get these kills. China on 7 kills of their own, mollying every avenue of escape, and I think Vietnam, they're up on the roof. If Tanvu can just do something, a miracle could happen, but it ain't going to work because the X-Left finds Sololzi, and he's going to blue.
Really well played there at the end by Team China. Got to appreciate the attempts there from Thailand, though. Going for the C4, going for the push, the follow-up, some really well thought out ideas in terms of how they were using their util. But China, slow and steady at that end game, knew they couldn't get the opportunity for Vietnam to stabilize and get those reses up, had to push the issue, and that forces things, and it gives them the much-needed chicken dinner.
That fight was comical at times. It was 4 or 5 different players ran up the stairs and shot the guy in front of the back, and then someone else, and then another one, and then another one. But Vietnam, they still got a ton of points in that game. China finally kind of announced themselves to this PNC. It's been, it's been steady from them, but that's a big one. Look, the Vietnam fan in the crowd looks a bit dejected after that one.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They played great, honestly. I mean, a couple different teams, because of that last circle shift, had to crash that compound. They had no other choice. You're not going to try to swing down towards China. You want to knock Vietnam out as well. Brazil was afforded no opportunities. China had an angle on them. If